Day 4 continues for the FACEIT Major Challenger stage. We're live from London, and we've got another one for you. TyLoo versus Renegades, two teams who are probably so sick of playing one another, they find themselves meeting or clashing or playing parallel with one another in almost every regional qualifier from the Asian region or Oceanic region, as they tend to clash and try and get to those same events. And now TyLoo and Renegades meet for what could be the last time and will be the last time for one of these two teams. They are 1 win, 2 losses at the moment coming into Day 4, and it means that this next game, this next battle, will be sending them home. It's going to be an intriguing one. I'm joined by none other than Damien Dap Steele and Jacob Pimp Vinegar, our analysts previously behind the mouse and keyboard. Now we've put you behind a desk, at least for a moment. Gentlemen, talk to me. TyLoo versus Renegades, and I can't help but feel your hearts and souls, Daps, have been broken by Renegades' underperformances.
Yeah, it's been pretty disappointing, this event. Just from talking to Nifty before this, they had a 2-week boot camp, so I think even they were expecting to have a little bit more of a better performance. Their one win yesterday even wasn't that convincing versus Space Soldiers with their coach. So it's going to be interesting to see how they play versus TyLoo, and I think this is really the true test, because Renegades usually does get the better of TyLoo at the minor. They did beat them in the final of the minor, so it's going to be interesting to see if they can sort of do it again.
And they're going to know each other inside and out, but they know the team they know is TyLoo, and we're going to take that thread and pull on it first, Jacob, because TyLoo are a team that actually their road to this point has been a very different one to that of Renegades.
It really has. It's been a lot of OTs and a lot of close games, and we did see it yesterday where they unfortunately ended up losing a super tight game. I think TyLoo, we said it a few times, we constantly talk about the communication issues. Let's not dwell with that anymore. There is some communication issues, but it is what it is. They're dealt with the cards they have right now, and I actually think TyLoo is making the best out of it. They're looking pretty solid, and I do think that TyLoo is a team that, against a team like Renegades right now, who are, I don't know, the way they're playing right now is just the worst I've seen in a long time, I would say. And despite them having a 2 weeks of boot camp, it's not like they're losing with dignity. It's like they're losing and winning without no dignity. It's like winning against Space Soldiers with a coach, with a stand-in, going into OT on a map like Inferno is just not good enough. It would be different if the 2 losses in this tournament have come off a good performance but just fell short to a better team. But that's not the feeling you have around the team right now.
Yeah, Renegades, they lost to Big, a 16-6 on Overpass and a 16-10 to Gambit on Train. The Space Soldiers victory came on Inferno, so they've been trying to keep their map pool diverse, but it's TyLoo who have looked so good. I mean, that same Gambit that beat Renegades 16-10, TyLoo pushed them into overtime and beat them on the map that was Inferno. And I have to say, just on an individual basis, I am loving watching XQret play. He seems to be nutty.
Yeah, he's very good, and it's sort of a player that you have to have on this team. You know, despite the communication issues, it's a player that I don't think I could name another Chinese opera that I would replace him with to sort of make the communication better.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I swear Captain Mo used to be rocking that AWP, and of course, I mean, that's night and day from Mo to XQret on that Zoom banger.
It really is, and I also, we talk so much about the communication issues surrounding this team, so I took myself the liberty to go behind them and watch the game against Optic yesterday, and a lot of the communication coming out from the team was actually from XQret. He was the one talking to the other guys, he was the one trying to translate, he was the one coming with all the ideas, and Bentit was a little bit more quiet than I initially would have thought. So I think he has a much bigger role in this team than you initially think from the outside, because he's taking a lot of the responsibility when it comes to communication, when it comes to giving ideas, and when it comes to keeping the players on the toes, saying stuff like, be ready for that smoke, that flash, yada yada yada.
Right, interesting stuff. And I guess, you know, when Bentit's dropping 30 frags, it's good to take as much weight of that leadership away from him, or rather that translation, not even leadership, I should just say that one right here, right now. And moving into Renegades then, it is the Aussies who've let many down many times. It's an interesting combination, and they have shown potential, not necessarily here in London, but in the build-up and the lead-up to this, there was excitement surrounding whether or not Renegades would make a little surprise run here at the Challenger stage. So far, though, they haven't got too much to show.
Yeah, it's a team that really relies on their individuals, I find. It's not a team that you're going to really expect too much tactical prowess from, but it's a team where Nifty can step up, have that 50 kills versus Mouse Sports. You have Azur, who used to be the best player on the team, in my opinion, a couple years ago. You have Jacob, who's really impressed me. I didn't expect him to come into this team and sort of carry them in a way. And then JKS is the usual suspect, where he's the person that you've been waiting on him to sort of break out to be that top 10, top 20 player in the world. And I think he has the potential to. It's just, it's sort of weird that they're sort of stuck in limbo.
Yeah, he's the highest rated player of the 10 in the server.
Yeah, and I think Chats summed it up pretty well yesterday, outlining that all these players have qualities to themselves. All these players could potentially work on a different team or in a different environment, being a star or being good in their role, but they just can't make it work together. They all have potential. Nifty is a great AVP player, YouStillo is a great entry fragger, but together as a team and as a unit, it's just not working out right now. And I do want to point out that with a 2 weeks of boot camp, you gotta be able to look better than they've looked so far in the 3 matches they played.
Yeah, I think they're a really good team, and I think YouStillo's actually been performing a lot better too. That's the crazy part, is usually people really rag on YouStillo and give him a lot of crap, but he's actually been one of their better performers over the last 3 months. So it's just sort of, it's a strange team to me.
It is. It's a strange team, and a lot of people kind of expecting to see a flop and a shuffle, seems to be. I'm using as many coward terms as I can, don't know why. But yes, indeed, they certainly could be struggling. And JKS, we mentioned him earlier, is featured in our head-to-head. We'll bring that up for you. It's brought to you by The Predator, which is in cinemas and theatres, depending on where you're watching from. September 14th. Somebody, though, I'd love to talk more about this guy, because he had some incredible round impact.
This is the star for TyLoo so far in this tournament. He's been playing out of his mind, and he's going up against JKS, who's supposed to be the star for Renegades, but he hasn't played that well. So it's two of the players that, in a matchup like this, where both teams are facing elimination, you gotta look to your right, you gotta look to your left. Who do you want to carry you? It gotta be your star of the team. It gotta be that backbone, and somebody has been that player for TyLoo. So I expect nothing else in this game. Whereas for JKS, he's a big question mark right now. We've seen time and time again that he's able to show good performance. He's able to carry the team, but he just hasn't done it in a long time, Alex.
Interesting stuff. Yeah, somebody actually yesterday, Chad had some incredible statistics for his round impact when we were watching, and it was something crazy. Like, he was getting, I think he had close to 14 double kills by the end of that overtime game. Like, he was dominating, and it's the CT side that I think I found him most impressive, because his team can count on him to the point where they do tend to leave him in places where you wouldn't not typically leave a player on their own and take these gambles. And actually, that's where I want to take it next. Still with the cards and the gambling. Not sure what's going on here. Daps, my question to you. When you have TyLoo in a situation like this, where they have truly, once again, like, it's been about a whole year, 2018 has been spent getting close to playoffs or close to causing an upset, losing an OT, losing a 16-14 versus European competition. Do you just keep throwing the word time at them when you're expecting a bit more results? I mean, they just seem to be so close yet so far for what's been 2018 entirely. Yeah,
it's tough for me to say, just because I don't know really what options they could get that would even be better.
That's true.
But I think it's a team that is sort of improving. I did say earlier in the tournament that I think they've sort of hit their limit, but they're always a team that can upset, I feel. And I think if they really figure out their communication problems and sort of try and work on that, so maybe that's hiring a translator or getting, like, lessons to learn, like, one language mainly a lot better, then that could help them a lot. But I think they have the pieces.
Yeah, so maybe essentially your answer is get them all to, like, a 6-month language boot camp.
Yeah, someone to help out the communication.
That would be quite the commitment
the
for the team, right?
Wouldn't it? It's like, okay, guys, we are good, but we're all going to go to school. Yeah, we're all going to refine our English. I don't know, man. It's so tough. It's because we always kind of take pride in some of the best teams in the world having the world's best communication and the way they communicate. And we saw what happened when the likes of MIBR started changing the language they communicate in. They fell off.
And I think it's a big factor to mention for the viewers out there. The communication within Counter-Strike and being able to talk to each other in an efficient way, doing a pressured situation is everything in Counter-Strike. You know from yourself, I wouldn't mind guessing that your biggest problem within your team is also communication. That's how all team approaches. If you don't have good communication, if you have players who are not communicating well enough or properly enough or giving the correct information or the right ideas at the right times, you bang on him and say, dude, you got to step up, you got to communicate more, you got to say this and this and this, right? And all players can get better at communication. You see it with Astralis, you see it with MIBR, as you said. As soon as they changed from speaking Brazilian to English, they dropped immensely in level, and also dropped immensely in the way they were able to adapt mid-round situations. So you often see good teams having good communication. They're doing well in mid-round situation, whereas teams with bad communication like TyLoo, they're going to do well in the beginning of the round, doing well doing the 4-1s and all that kind of stuff. So it's basically two different ways of playing Counter-Strike. That said, though, Counter-Strike is a universal language, and everyone knows what Sugar Rush B is.
Yeah, sure, but they also, you know, well, with this hamstrung communication, have managed to get maps off of Astralis. Overtime wins versus Gambit, nearly beating Optic. I kind of want them to. I want to see them in legendary status, but I just don't know who's gonna have to pay for that. Perhaps Renegades, as they are on your screens. And I want to start talking about maps, even though you don't necessarily have the veto ready just yet. But I just want to understand where do Renegades' strengths even lie at this point? They've lost on Train and Overpass, and they picked up a close win versus Hindered Space.
Well, that's sort of the scary part. Is the loss on Train, because right now, I mean, at least playing against Renegades, Cash and Train is generally their 2 best maps. They tried to play Overpass against Big. It did not pan out as they wanted. And both teams here don't play Nuke. So it's going to be sort of interesting to see. I know TyLoo likes Cash as well. And I think TyLoo's 7-0 on Cash in the last 3 months. Damn. So I think Cash could be a map it goes to.
And I think it's a super interesting conversation to have, because me and Chad were wondering yesterday what happened to Renegades and the Cash. I remember when I was playing in NA with Liquid, the only map you didn't want to play Renegades at was Cash and Counter.
100%.
Like those were the 2 maps they were good with. So all of a sudden they come in with a 2 weeks of boot camp. They tell the public that we changed our map pool, we worked on our map pool, and we strengthened it, you know, made it wider. But if that comes off the how to say, the consequence of not having a good map, that's not necessarily strength. So you may be able to play 6 maps at a decent level, but if you don't have a map you can go to in a best of 1 where you feel comfortable and feel strong, you're gonna lose to tight games like TyLoo and other good opponents here.
Yeah, we haven't seen their Cash actually in quite some time, certainly not in this event, but I'm just looking back at their previous results. The last time we actually saw them play Cash was way back at the Asian Minor, where of course that was actually an interesting series, best of 3 between TyLoo and Renegades, and TyLoo actually bested them.
Yeah, well, if I had to pick 3 maps, it'll come down to Inferno, Train, and Cash. The thing is though, if I'm Renegades, I'm kind of scared of playing Inferno after yesterday.
I would be.
I don't think their win yesterday on Inferno was convincing enough to really warrant playing TyLoo on one of their better maps. So it's kind of scary. I think it'll honestly be between Train and Cash. Both teams are 5-4 in the last 3 months on Cash, or Train, I mean, sorry, and they both banned it once in this event. So I think that's sort of like a middle ground map for both teams.
I definitely agree, and I do think that now would be the time to bring out the Cash of Renegades. If they have something to show on it and have anything to have their confidence in, and actually do believe that they're the better team than TyLoo, bringing out a Cash would be the right move right here. Playing Inferno, I wouldn't necessarily do that either. As you said, it is TyLoo's 2nd best map, and it is a map that no matter what happens, it's going to be a close map. And if Renegades truly believe to themselves that they should be beating a team like TyLoo backs against the wall, then bring out a map where you feel comfortable, play to your own strengths, and stop bullshitting around.
Yeah, because even though I said Train was one of Renegade's best maps, they did change their map pool a little bit. So I think Train is maybe fallen down after that loss. So I think, yeah, Train or Cash. It'll most likely come down. I'd put money on it.
Okay, so Train or Cash is our result of our little brainstorm, and we are waiting for the players to actually finish the veto. They've been taking their time apparently to get that veto done. Maybe just having that.
Got such a smooth first game, so why not take a little extra time here in the second one?
Yeah, you know, why not just kind of do your stretches, do your aim bots, everything else you need to do to warm up. I'm concerned that Nifty's got his headphones on the wrong ears, because the cable is like a little crossed.
It's very uncomfortable.
And I think he might have them on the wrong, like a left is right, right is left. And I mean, I don't want to say I've ever done that at a LAN event, but I have.
They look like they're having fun though. So
they do. I mean, there's good vibes, but to be fair, this is one of the teams where I consider good vibes to be integral to their success.
Or lack of.
Everyone's having fun, but JKS actually, at the end there, he's just...
He's focused. He wants to win the most here, apparently.
And we just said it as well, didn't we, guys? We said JKS is going to have to be a huge win condition.
He has to be the win condition for this lineup. He is normally, under normal circumstances, and what we've seen the past year for Renegades, the best player on the server. So he should be up there, and he was at one point rumored to C9, at one point rumored to Liquid to replace a certain player on this disc, and there was a lot of stuff going on surrounding this guy, and he's just a great player. He seems to be very calm, very collective, and that's something what you need on a team that is having a lot of fun and that has a lot of personality. So in that regard, he's a great player for Renegades, I feel. That said, though, I think Chad alerted to yesterday as well. If Renegades do not make it out of here, if Renegades do not make a great result against TyLoo, and at least, you know, come out with a little bit of dignity in potentially losing the game, then this Renegades, we will no longer see them play as this 5-man unit. There will have to be some changes within the lineup, maybe with even the structure of the team. Something needs to change, because it's been too long with just disappointing results. One thing is not winning the games and maybe not, you know, having the luck on your side and just being in a good rhythm. Another one is losing embarrassingly, and even when you win against a team like Spatial, it doesn't feel like a win. It just feels like a relief, and that's not the way you want to play in a Counter-Strike team.
I don't know about you, Dabs, but I think I'd struggle to perform at my optimal when I know that the team's probably lifespan, it depends on our success. I mean, that's a whole lot of pressure to put on players coming into a game.
I mean, it's tough. It really just depends. Like, from talking to people on the team, it seems like they're all friends. They all have a good vibe. Obviously, they have pressure to perform here because Renegades, historically, I think, I don't know the exact record, but they've been at this stage a lot of times, and they have never passed this stage.
Oh, we definitely got our Renegade stickers. We've definitely seen them in that top 16, but it's just a question of whether or not they can get any further. They're just looking to break through that ceiling and show us how far they can climb.
On the other hand, we have TyLoo, who is a team I feel already now have shown what they're capable of. We kind of praised them as currently being in peak shape, and I think that's down to the communication issues. I think the players on the team can definitely get better, and I think the whole thing about having an Asian and a Chinese team at an event like this playing Counter-Strike well is just cool, because I feel there's a lot more to come from that region. So TyLoo has a lot to play for, in the sense that obviously they want to make the next stage, and they're definitely good enough at doing so. But I think for the next major and then the years to come, I think this TyLoo team has way more to prove, and definitely a better future ahead of them than should they end up losing against a team like Renegades.
Let's recap, Daps. What did you say again?
So both teams don't play Nuke, so TyLoo feeling confident they're not going to play around with Nuke, they're just going to get rid of it before Renegades has the chance to. So I think Renegades is going to instantly ban Dust 2. I don't think they're going to want to play Dust 2 against TyLoo. TyLoo respecting Renegades Train. I'm expecting definitely a Dust 2 ban at a Renegades here, and a Mirage, because Mirage is TyLoo's best map.
So it would make sense to you if we say goodbye to Dust 2, maybe. I mean, this Overpass. Cash, they're banning Cash again.
They don't want to play.
They've lost it. They've lost their mojo.
Yeah, it's very strange. I don't really recall a certain time where Cash fell off for them. It's still a map that most NA teams don't want to play them on. There's the Dust 2 ban. So yeah, it's probably going to be
Overpass again, or...
I just, the fact that TyLoo is able to pick Overpass is pretty ridiculous in my opinion.
I mean, it could just be another TyLoo Inferno, not forgetting that
but then again,
TyLoo
has banned, TyLoo will most likely ban Overpass because they've banned it this whole event.
Right.
So
they get it as well. It's going to be TyLoo with Inferno, and this is the same map. Oh, I'm actually kind of glad. Oh, this is interesting. Things get interesting now.
It's a little surprising.
But it's the Inferno that we saw. Then they beat Gambit and nearly beat Opticon. That's TyLoo I'm referring to. And this is the same map where Space Soldiers with Hardstyle, the coach, managed to push them into overtime as well.
To be fair, for the sake of Renegades, it is a different situation now. They know they were going up against Space Soldiers. They knew they had everything to lose. Did they not win that game? So that pressure could also get to them in the sense of they literally had nothing to win in that game. They should win, and they should win it more easily, you could say. Whereas now they're going up against a team they played a lot of times. They maybe to themselves consider themselves a better unit than TyLoo. So in that regard, the pressure is off them. And I think Renegades can maybe play a little bit more loose, a little bit more free. And that's where they blemish, you know. That's where a player like Nifty is really good, where he just gets to run around with AVP and do whatever he wants to do. So if I were Renegades, I would just do me and do myself, and hopefully that will be enough against a team like TyLoo.
Renegades bringing the hype, bringing the energy, and bringing the giggles, and it does seem like our casters have got faith in TyLoo or lost faith in Renegades. It's that time once again, Damien. I need a team.
I mean, the fact that not Renegades, TyLoo has played against two better teams on Inferno this event, and both of them went down to the wire, but I think TyLoo had a lot of chances to close those matches, and Renegade's performance on Inferno yesterday wasn't anything to write home about. So I think just based off this event, TyLoo is the favorite here.
I'm afraid it's going to be a blowout as well for TyLoo. I think they have shown much more than Renegades have, and we need those individuals to step up. We need the Nifty to jump around with AVP against a guy like Exercurate. We need JKS to find the form a little. We just haven't seen it so long, so it's super tough to believe that that's going to be the case in this one.
Let's go ahead and jump on that train. I'll be shoveling some coal in that as well. The hype train for TyLoo, or perhaps the opposite for that of Renegades. We'll see. It's a redemption story from now on. One of these teams is going to be going home, and perhaps we're going to be expecting roster changes should Renegades not convert here. A lot of expectations on them, and the teams that they've lost to seem to have left a bad taste in their mouth. And now we'll be seeing if they can close it out. We're not quite ready to jump in just yet, unless... Actually, no, wait. Yeah, no, yeah, James Bardolph, yeah, he's ready. He's been getting the set nicely, just angling all of the props behind him. He's fondling some balls, apparently. James?
Hello. Doesn't make much noise, does it? I'm an egoist. That's what I am. I'm going to put this away now. Dan, talk.
That was really funny. That was really funny.
I loved it. It was the best thing ever.
It was so good as well because the there was like no music. It was just no sound. It's just like everyone had left already. It's like really late at night. It's just sort of, you know, rolled there, just very timidly, just like it's like just so much tension. And then it's just
we need the game show. We need like a game show heartbeat music for next week. Because that's going to be fantastic.
I wonder if a lot of people missed it because it was very late at night when we did the draw.
Yeah, it was good, man. You missed out if you missed it. You missed out, but did you miss out on voting for this match? TyLoo seems to be the pick of most of the people here, but what have you picked at home on the Upcomer app? If you haven't got it just yet, it is available on your app stores and upcomer.com. 68% for TyLoo and a solid 32% for Renegades.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah, it is. Now, we saw TyLoo playing Optic, right, on Inferno, and Optic were very aggressive on their CT side. I think there was a lot that Renegades could take away from watching that match, ways that they can exploit TyLoo on Renegades' CT side, and Renegades will be starting on that CT side. So I would like to see them, I mean, there's two schools of thought, right? Playing your own game versus, all right, let's try and be more aggressive. I mean, they should be able to do that if that's what they want to do. They did struggle versus Space Soldiers, but I mean, Space Soldiers gave it their best shot, but TyLoo will have some unorthodox plays, as we saw. Flying out the balcony, going up top mid again. I can't wait to see that again. That was so fun. Yeah. So it's going to be a really interesting one.
Yeah, well, one thing I think that we absolutely have learned from that previous game, because we had so many overtimes. Again, it was just one match, and sometimes it can just be the stylistic matchup between two teams. But obviously, TyLoo's their CT side was actually looked really solid. Like they had a really good CT side. They had some crazy, like, you know, somebody on Banana. I feel like he's someone that should be exploitable because of his aggression. It seemed like over-aggression to some degree. So I'm really curious to see if, you know, Renegades have had time to sort of think about that game. I mean, it lasted a long time, so there's lots of data there. But that T side, it's where they could get a lot of mileage because Renegades themselves have a strong CT side. So I think Renegades, I'm looking to see them have a good T side to make sure that could be what, for me, tips it over the edge against TyLoo. But it's a new day, so it's hard to say which way TyLoo are going to go with it.
Going back to Inferno, I would have, sorry, the veto rather, I would have liked to have seen Cash. I think that would have been interesting because if we go, it was a while ago.
Had a Cash?
I don't think we have, but if we go back to when we were in Malaysia and we saw the Asian Counter-Strike on Cash, it was very lacking, and of course it would have developed by then, but perhaps there were advantages to be had there as well. But maybe Renegades feel like Inferno is a map that they can leave open over Cash because there will be less variance, especially with CT sides being quite brittle on Cash these days. So Inferno may be a safer bet for them, and really Space Soldiers did push them to the limit, and perhaps they can build on that experience in this match versus TyLoo.
I hope we get a playlist released, like the FACEIT London Major playlist, because I like this track a lot, for example. Yeah,
this is a nice...
This is one of my favorite ones.
...track to have in the background while you're doing stuff, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Basically lyricless.
Yeah, just like some weird samples.
There is a playlist that somebody found on Spotify, but as I understand it, it's not up to date. So we will get something out there at some point. Fear not. You'll get your music. Very well picked, I have to say. Credit to whoever chose this music.
Yeah, it's a really good improvement, I think. There's been some questionable picks in the past. But yeah, loving this one. And yeah, so we're both on, well, everyone is seemingly with TyLoo, they think that they have the edge. But for Renegades, you know, this is, as mentioned, a moment that they could pick to really lift themselves up. They are a team that have a lot of skill and potential, and we know that if they hit the ground running, they can be quite scary. So, you know, this is the moment. You know, they don't really have any chances, James, after this.
Yeah, going back to TyLoo's previous match again, if we look at how, I don't know if it's team dependent, but when there were so many plays towards B to establish presence, and TyLoo didn't rotate players over towards A, not a single time. They just didn't believe. They were very solid and willing to do what they thought was right. I don't know if they're going to have that same approach versus Renegades, because obviously it's a different team, so maybe team dependent. But I do wonder if that's something Renegades have looked at and something they will try to exploit, where they do the normal established presence towards B, suggest it might be B, but then go A, but maybe they just go B.
Yeah, I mean, again, I have to just highlight somebody because he was delivering all the frags to TyLoo with the AWP. He was very, very aggressive towards that banana position, and I think that, you know, further adds to your point that there is definitely value to be had there. If you look at the way that TyLoo were expending their utility and their approach generally to banana, there's definitely ways you can get edges. There's always this sort of meta game, you know, within, you know, a matchup of two teams in which, you know, okay, are we going to throw an ace straight away? And are you going to run into them and throw your nade straight away? Or are you going to, as a T side, then are you going to wait out our nades, then you're going to come in and throw yours? That means that we'll lose position. That means your nades are effectively being better bang for buck than ours. So you can get an edge that way, and, you know, can get map control in a more safe manner. So, you know, that can be a win, but then that can be exploited as well, because then you're playing really passively as a T side. That creates space for the CTs to make plays. So there's always a give and a take. It just depends, you know, how you establish that and how the decisions go for each team to play around it.
Just waiting for Captain Mo, doing some reconnecting. Everybody else is good to go. So we're almost there. Honestly, someone tell me what color is this head? It must have like a product color. Because it's not just grey, is it? It's like a steely grey. Or and what color? If the other one is grey, then what color is this color? Well, that's more blonde.
You need the Warhammer nerds to come out to play for that one.
Warhammer nerds.
Yeah, and, you know, if you're a Warhammer person, then you'll be buying the models and painting them, and they have all kinds of paints. Although I think that they have, you know, specific names that aren't really used maybe as a standardized name in like the art world to define colors.
So they're just like Warhammer paints as opposed to just general wide.
Well, I mean, they have like a huge array of different colors, like an enormous array of different colors, so you can customize.
I think I have a friend who's a Warhammer nerd. Yeah, I know one guy who's a Warhammer nerd. There used to be places in central London. They used to have these just stores where they have the table and stuff, but I never tried one of those things. It was more Subbuteo in my day.
Yeah, I like how we took the word nerd back. Now we were empowered with the word nerd, James.
Yeah. Is it Tasteosis who have the handsome nerd brand?
Yeah. They absolutely were right in there at the beginning.
I think there's a difference between nerd and geek, though. I think
yeah.
I think nerds are more socially awkward than geeks.
well, geek tends to have a, like, I think, you know, from a dictionary standpoint, a geek is like a very specific sort of obsession with one thing. Like you can have a car geek, for example, like car geeks or computer geeks. You know, that's like very specific thing. And I think nerd is a more sort of overall branching term, generalized term.
I don't know, you know, because people say like you're nerding out on X and Y. So I'm not sure I buy that one. I'm trying to learn about cars. I don't know anything about cars.
James, you need to speed up going to prison so you can read the dictionary.
Yeah, I'll try and do that. Let me go and find something to steal that. Alright, so hopefully soon we shall be beginning this one. I like the Renegades jerseys.
I was going to say, the amount of bids is going up. Counter-Strike. I wonder if that's just because we're having players who are just getting older, which I guess makes sense to a degree. But at the same time, you know, I wonder if it's a style thing as well.
Yeah, I remember Rubina had a fat beard, Semler grew a fat beard. You've got a beard now.
Yeah.
I can't do beards. I can't.
You could.
I can't get past the itchy stage. I can't even do hair on my head. I just got to shave it.
You just got to use the right products, James.
I can't. No, I can't.
That's actually the thing. It's like you think, you know, a beard is, it's like so manly and masculine. And, you know, of course, those connotations are true. But at the same time, like you have to take it to like the next level and get all these like different products. Like really understand how to have like proper beard care. Don't you have like a dry.
Oh, yeah, and there's beard, obviously.
With like split ends and stuff like that, because that's just gross. Got to keep it in good shape. And you got to trim it. You got to get the scissors out.
Yeah,
brush it.
Me. I don't
comb it.
I haven't got time for all that maintenance crap.
Shampoo it, oil it. It's like a Daft Punk song in the making.
Yeah, I'm not about that life. Just make it go away.
You should one day just turn up with an enormous beard and just be really hench as well. Just get, you know, down to 5% body fat and just put on 20 kilos of muscle.
I wonder if anyone like
new
gets the laser thing done on their face.
Laser hair removal.
Yeah, LASIK. Or is that the eye thing?
That's
I think it's the
eye thing. Yeah.
Don't get LASIK on your face. Well, I mean,
you can try to ask them to remove retinas from your face and stuff if you want. Can you remove this cornea from my cheek, please?
did you know that children, if they jump in water, they can learn to keep their pupils smaller so they can see better? The reason our vision is blurry when we're in water is because our pupils get wider. But if they go tight, then you can have like twice as good vision.
Wasn't the pupil dilation just to do with the amount of light that you're allowing into the eye?
Well, yeah, it goes wider to let more light in.
Yeah.
But as a child, you can learn to close it more, which will allow you to see better in the water. So they can see. So some people who live in like fishing villages and go like proper rural fishing villages and like are in the sea physically themselves, they can learn to have twice as good vision as we have in the water, so they can actually see things properly.
That's pretty cool.
I don't know if you can learn it as an adult. I would love to, because you see all those Baywatch scenes, like they can't see anything. Why are they trying to claim Westside?
Well, I wonder if anyone knows anything more detail about that, tweet us the links, and maybe we'll retweet that. So that's always interesting facts. Also, I think sometimes for us there is that risk of misinformation, because we're just like, okay, what can we think of that's remotely interesting to talk about? Or I remember this one line from this article I read once. Sometimes you don't remember things correctly, and that can be misleading. We must eliminate misinformation, James. We must be warriors for the integrity of information.
Noted.
Well, it's about to start. 10 seconds to go. Renegades versus TyLoo. Renegades on that CT side and TyLoo on the T side. We saw TyLoo struggle on this T side massively yesterday against Optic. Will they have a renewed look, rejuvenated look here today?
Pat. As they're looking for info. How long does he stay here, though? Because there are Ts moving through the apartments. However, his left is covered for the time being by Nifty. He is now vulnerable. There goes the bomb. That's a nice looking shot as well. Trades are here from Bentet. And Nifty doesn't know that there are two players here, because he was shot in the side of the head. The CT's now falling back on their one-man advantage. Jacob alone towards the bomb site. Sorry, no, JKS is at the bottom of Banana. As is Azza. Caught out of position by somebody. Now Jake gets still on. He's got Ventet on the flank, and he won't see that the bomb is a Ventet shot in from the front, actually. So this is getting super weird now. Renegade's not quite sure what's going on. Somebody was top mid, but they are rotating to B anyway. Ventet not sure if anybody's there. Some grenades are being deployed, and in go TyLoo. He's alone, not far behind Jacob. Continuing to charge in are these CTs, and the bomb should soon go down.
Yeah, STD going for that, and looking like he'll be pretty successful. Now, what do we have here from Mr. Jacob? 1 versus 3. Always doable in the pistol round, but that's not going to help, is it? Takes one in the face, and although he does get a trade back, it's very difficult here from this position to finish things off. 6 HP, 1 bullet does it for TyLoo. They set themselves up so they can immediately trade. Flashbang has to be absolutely perfect, can't do much, and TyLoo will pick up the much-needed pistol round for that T side. So perhaps they can get off to a good start on this T side. They need it so badly. Imagine the confidence they'd get from that after all the trouble they had with it yesterday. What was it? They struggled to get 4 or 5 rounds, I think, in regulation on the T side.
Yeah, T sides were not really a thing. Let's see if they will be on this occasion. Okay. One of the Renegades players is reconnecting to the server, and cameras will be adjusted in the meantime. Those are the micro studios. I think they are. They need a lot of light, those. They're low light. They're not very good in low light. So if you've got the lights on, it's good. I bought one for FGC events, and it was a waste of money because they're not often well lit.
Can you explain the parlor video, James, with the button?
Sorry, I was getting info from JKS alt-tabbed, which is part of the delay. But he'll soon be back. I hate an alt-tab. It's like the one thing you can't really unbind. If you have a programmable keyboard or certain gaming keyboards, you can disable the left Windows key. On my, because I use all my custom-made keyboards, I just don't have it bound. It doesn't do anything.
I was to say, like, what are you pressing near it that can risk you pressing alt-tab?
Well, I use alt as a talk button. So sometimes I'm talking and I'm looking at the scoreboard and I'm like, oh, I've alt-tabbed myself.
This is
but I do it very,
reason,
very rarely.
This is another reason why like people shouldn't use Wazard. You should just get right out there in the middle. Get the RDFG game on, because you're away from all the function keys. You still have good access to the spacebar if you want that space off a jump or whatever, and you have way more keys accessible to all of your fingers. You can have a
RDFG.
You can have a setup where you'd have no lack of buttons for binds. All the fingers are enabled for the most comfortable possible setup for yourself, and you don't risk pressing any function keys.
So what do you use?
I actually use ESDF.
ESDF.
So I'm in between Wazard and RDFG.
Yeah.
I almost went to RDFG, but I just got really used to ESDF. It was far enough away for me.
I remember when somebody downloaded Scream's config, not realizing that on a French keyboard the keys are in a different order, and he was like, "Oh, I feel like I'm playing better. The finger positions are kind of weird, but I feel like I'm playing better with this." And people are like, "Dude, he's basically playing WASD. Just the keys are in a different place, and you're gonna kill your fingers doing whatever." That was so funny.
It's really interesting. One of the best aimers, maybe in fact the best aimer of all time in Quake, a player called Toxic, he used a mouse 1 and mouse 2 to go forwards and backwards, and I think it was Z and X to go left and right, and spacebar to shoot. I think it was alt to shoot. It was just like a really weird combination. Anyway.
Holy.
But he was like the best aimer historically, so you can't really. You're like, well, I guess it works. It's very old school. I can go into why he would have had that. I think that's like a Dooms thing. You'd go forward and backwards with the mouse. But anyways. TyLoo.
Well, I mean, it's USPs, man. Talk. Go for it.
Yeah, well, I mean, just
that sounds insane.
In those like original like fake 3D games with the sprites like Doom and so on, and Duke Nukem and all that, you would often like the mouse. There wouldn't be mouse look exactly, but then mouse look eventually. Before that came in, you'd have a mouse and you'd press like mouse 1 and mouse 2 forwards and backwards, if I remember correctly. So I think that's maybe one of the reasons why.
That's really old school.
But there is definitely one additional interest. I think the most interesting thing about that setup is having fire not on the mouse. Because if you think about it, if you're in Quake, it was more relevant because you'd be holding the mouse down whilst you're gripping the mouse and tracking. Because let's say you're using a lightning gun, so you're constantly depressing and aiming at the same time, which creates like additional pressure on the mouse, which may actually throw off your ability to seamlessly track as well as shoot. And so disconnecting those two things means that you just have a mouse control with consistent pressure all the time, and you're not having to exert additional pressure with the fire button. So there is a benefit there.
But if you're using it to move anyway, isn't there pressure regardless?
Wait, squeezing. You're squeezing. Like squeezing.
I think that's what you mean, actually.
Yeah.
I used to have a habit. I think this is a common thing that people have. Well, let's see what Jacob can do here, actually. As they move away from his position, and it's over. I used to, in a pistol round, like have this kind of panic grip where I'd grab the mouse really, really hard, and if I had just kept it normal, I'd do much better. But it's like one of those mental barriers that you need to consciously think about to get over. But I don't do that anymore, fortunately.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Yeah, you get like tension. Mental tension transfers into like physical tension on the mouse, just over gripping. But we're into the buy rounds, so no more speak of mouse nonsense. Or, well, a lot of sense actually there, but execute on the AWP. And Nifty going deep immediately. He does not care whether or not TyLoo have an AWP here.
Sees the lack of challenge and is willing to have a look. So now we look to see if Renegades will go for the kind of aggression that we saw from Yugi. And here this is the start from Yustilo. I like that play. You can see how he's covered from Nifty backing off, and he leaves Yustilo exposed at the last second. He had to move to allow Yustilo to leave. So that's really unfortunate timing for Renegades, but maybe Yustilo going into a forward position to catch the tease, setting up for the double peak. The idea was pretty cool from Renegades, but they haven't quite hit the mark on this first buy round, having lost a player after taking one.
Interesting spot from TyLoo. It's a great position to be in on as a T-side. Minute left, 4v4. Lots of nades. And JKS will actually hear, I think, some players down by Bananas, so we'll be on higher level. 1-3 regardless. TyLoo, how well can they play this 4v4? We saw a lot of situations. I think Peta from HLTV actually made a tweet about some of the crazy situations where TyLoo sort of seemingly threw away an advantage with a weird play, but then won the round anyway, multiple times. And TyLoo, they're just going to go for a set piece onto the B site, and that should be really effective. They've kept a lot of grenades here, but they must have time. 20 seconds, they need to get their move on. Here go the nades. There's an incendiary drop down by JKS, though. Will that slow them down at 15 seconds? This could be tight.
Oh, they are trapped, and Azure is able to get a massive rotation in. How will they plant the bomb now? They both get taken out, these CTs, just in time for the bomb to go down. Nifty and Jacob rotating both from the CT position. Oh, I thought Nifty might have had something there, but it seems Extra had the better angle. Now, if Extra is still peeking, he will see that the gun was picked up because Jacob's rifle would have gone flying forwards. And now the hunt is on for TyLoo. They're going for it. Jacob falling back, trying to hold on to this AWP. So again, we saw Renegades go for that aggressive play, trying to get that early advantage, which TyLoo have been prone to giving up. But unfortunately, the timing just didn't work out for Renegades trying to rotate out of apartments. Nifty was the guy covering Ustilo, but he had to move to allow Ustilo to leave. Timing was there for TyLoo. And they managed to capitalize. It looks pretty bad towards B-bomb side with so little time on the clock. But they got 2 frags for the one of Renegades. And the rest was history. You can see there, Ustilo standing right next to his teammate. That's really unfortunate for Renegades. If they manage to get out of that situation, I do wonder what might have been. But it is still early. 4-0 for TyLoo. Good start for them.
Yeah, it's a great start from TyLoo. Again, if you just consider how much of a hard time they had yesterday on the T side, it's got to be them feeling good. Although, this is a really scary round that Renegades can offer up. The AWP still, the 5 smokes that they've purchased, a kid on JChem. Very dangerous stuff, and it will not be easy for TyLoo to find a way through this one. But, of course, they are an advantage regardless. Renegades, though, they may be in a spot where they'll feel happy to try to take some risks. And Nifty being as good as he is on the AWP, it is definitely quite a scary prospect if he is to try to go aggressive with it. But he is going to be left... Oh, actually, he's rotating, leaving, in fact, JKS alone on the B side of the map. So they have enough information to do this. TyLoo really need to make this a bit more obscure.
What is interesting is... I do wonder if TyLoo, if they're playing their pace regardless, or if they have a slower approach because they know an AWP is somewhere. But if it is a slower approach, of course, that plays into the hands of Renegades. 50 seconds, and they still have 4 smoke grenades. And now JKS is starting to jump peak, so he can drop a smoke. But if they choose to push through it, TyLoo, he doesn't really have the personnel to help him fight. Standing in the smoke, perhaps expecting them not to push through it. He could even redeploy his smoke in that same spot. Still with 4 people towards that A-bomb site. 30 seconds, and there are 3 smokes down. But JKS, he needs additional gunfire. 25 seconds left. Nifty rotating in with the AWP. No more smokes. And indeed, this is what they had to expect to push through. JKS trying to avoid the fire, but the flashbang will leave Nifty in a spot of trouble. He has to fall back. JKS hasn't really managed to capitalize on that situation, but there are 10 seconds to plant the bomb. If they go for coffins, Nifty could get the bang. In the meantime, Azure with 2 kills. It's a weird plant spot. Ooh. The cover is still there, and this might just work out for TyLoo. But in their position now, that's such an important frag. Ooh, that was a tough one.
Yeah, it's coming down to the wire in the last round as well as this one. I just was watching the mini-map, and I saw, 6 seconds left. I saw the bomb flying away from a player. I'm like, oh god, that's not a good sign. They managed to plant it with like less than half a second to spare. Still trying to be cheeky, and he will be quite cheeky, in fact. He can steal away a gun. That's a good result for him. And, Renegades can be happy with the amount of damage they did in this round. They're going to have a lot of money in this next round due to the max loss bonus that they accrued. And TyLoo's money is in a decent place. They'll be fine to buy and to have enough left in the tank for future rounds. So we'll see now whether or not Renegades, with this 4-buy, can rectify the situation. Whether TyLoo will continue to creep up this scoreboard. 5-0, that is looking good for them.
Yeah, Renegades got a lot out of that round, though, as really putting in work with those 2 kills with the CZ. Let's see if the AK makes a difference. Tactical timeout from Renegades. Do we have another aggressive play in mind? Nifty doesn't have the most amazing spawn in terms of going towards A. Doesn't always have to be the AWP that they make something happen with, though. But he's got the skills to do it, just as Yugi did on Optic. So let's see. There's Nifty spawn. Can spawn closer to the corner, kind of where Azir is. That would have been slightly more favourable. Does he choose to jump over again? He might not repeat. Surely he won't repeat. He will. Because he sees players there, so I'm thinking if he sees players, he doesn't repeat, but he'll repeat regardless. Jacob's been picked up towards B very early on, but there are 2 more CTs here.
Oh, looks like there's a big gap in the smoke. Regardless, it is an angle you can just try to take a pot shot through, but perhaps Execute was not needing to do so with that gap. And speaking of gaps and smokes, that's an interesting one. Looks like a pretty big miss. But a 5 versus 4 is strong here for TyLoo.
How does the smoke end up there?
I don't know rightly. So perhaps maybe it was thrown from the bottom of the T-pad or something? I don't know.
Maybe someone jumped by accident. I don't know how else that happens. Anyway, TyLoo continuing to establish control of Banana in its entirety. Standard stuff on a T rounds. Now do they do more towards A? 49 seconds on the clock. Nifty, top mid. Having a look. He's been smoked off now. So there is a denial of information, but YuStilo is going forward. Something has to go the way of Renegades here. They need to get an advantage back. He feels the threat. Was vulnerable to a double peek there. It was a precarious position, but he manages to escape. They have the numbers, well, they have some numbers on the site. Only 2 players to the 5 of TyLoo, who are again playing the clock down very slow, delayed by these Molotovs. 2 smokes around the pit area, and here they come.
In a great spot, picks up the bomber, 10 seconds to go, Nifty with another one, and it's looking way too easy for Nifty. He is doing a ridiculously good job there on the bomb site with the AWP. Captain Mo with the last frag, but there's no time to plant at this point, so it's up to Nifty just to finish him off. Can they take his AWP away? Yes, they will take the AWP away. That is something, and considering how much money is in the tank for TyLoo, that's actually not a bad situation for them to play from. But again, James, TyLoo are consistently leaving themselves with like 10 seconds to plant a bomb. And if you consider the fact that they got the 5 versus 4 in like the first 15 seconds of the round, that shouldn't be happening. You have a big advantage. You don't have to try and play the clock like that at that point.
I think part of the issue was the CT still had Molotovs to slow them down, so they were delayed in their short push. And that's not the first time we've seen that in these few rounds that we have seen so far. So that really made it easier for Renegades. Not that it was easy by any means, but it made it easier for them to cause TyLoo some problems. Bomb went beyond the double stack. I think they had to focus on a desperation plant, but the bomb carrier, after one player got caught on the corner of the smoke, a second player re-peeked, and if a CT is already in that position, that's a disadvantageous play to make. But regardless of that, the third player went beyond the double stack position into no man's land with the bomb, and once that goes down there, the round is pretty much over. They have another buy. It's not the best buy for Renegades, so if TyLoo can win this round, then this could be a very bad half for Renegades. But that may be easier said than done. There is less utility for Renegades. So they've got 2 Molotovs at 125 mark of the round. But again, I think a lot of teams, even when the presence is shown towards Banana and so on, they won't really deploy all their grenades early. They'll hold on to them, because often the push is coming in very late indeed.
It does afford TyLoo the ability to perhaps catch Renegades off by dramatically switching up their pace. If they hit a really fast timing, it would be likely unexpected by Renegades. And Bente walks in to the B-bomb sites, picks up a headshot, collects J-Chem's scalp, and just moseys on back down to middle, rejoin his teammates, leaving one player on Banana. TyLoo keeping that option available as they fall back, but they didn't fully clear middle. You can see there is still a player in the cubby, which is Azza, who will likely discover that nothing's really happening there soon enough here for Renegades. There's a flash for Azza to peek. He sees nothing. So now they rotate towards B. But TyLoo are actually going into A. They've actually worked this out perfectly. They have completely fooled Renegades. Caught on rotation. Nifty has to just clutch this on the bomb site. Gets the first one. What else would he find? Nothing.
You still smoked off from the arch position. There will be a gap, but you've got to be careful about standing around those, especially when the pit is in control of the opponent. DD and Captain Mo in that position. Now, Renegades, how much do they invest into this push? If one player gets taken out, that's got to be a save immediately. The clock is ticking. They don't have... Oh, sorry, Ustillo has a kit. You really have to wonder, if they push, they lose everything. There we go. Should be a save at this point. They continue to push. Point of no return. 3 AWP frags. Okay, they swap one out. Really smart. I was about to say, you don't want to take 2 AWPs into the next round. And that is the Renegades economy wiped out.
I really wonder, just as a quick thought, did TyLoo decide to go back to A because they heard the pop flash from the TCPs for information and figured, hey, they're playing information and they're going to see there's nothing in top mid. If we just rush back to top mid, now we're going to catch them rotating away from A. Because if that was like a split-second call, that's genius from TyLoo to pick that up straight away.
So they've gone for the force buy Renegades, apart from Nifty, of course, who always saves for the AWP. And, I mean, it's a hard call to make, I suppose, with the 3-on-3. Nifty will be alone towards the A site, the rest of the team on B. So the people who've gone for the force are on B. If TyLoo goes away, then they can play this round out again in the next one. But indeed, just that one round in the reset, TyLoo are in a very strong position. I think if I was the coach in the back, I'd be saying, all right, boys, 10-1 is the short-term target in this situation. Always good to have goals.
So right now for TyLoo, they're just working on sticking together and moving up the arch side as a big unit. It has been a popular way to approach rounds like this historically, and to see the smoke there on the library as well as arch really clears a solid path towards this A-bomb site. And there's nowhere to really stand here now for the CTs. That's pretty incredible. I don't know how Nifty's found that one. Oh my god! That is kind of ridiculous. I don't think it's going to amount to all that much, but...
Well, I mean, look at the utility on Renegades, though. They've got smoke grenades. They can smoke off the pit position and really go for this. They can use these smokes to get into this. I mean, they have to go for this now. 4 versus 3, fully equipped on a force buy at least. Get these smokes going. And, I mean, they have little to lose at this point. Having a look. Down go the smokes around that pit position. It's going to force TyLoo forward. So they don't have the numbers. Extra on the high ground, trying to do what he can. And the trade frag is there from DD. And that might be the crisis averted. I think it is. Another round in the bag for TyLoo.
Yeah, that was another good round from them.
What a great job from Nifty to get the second frag. I'm surprised it took too long. He was on point with the aim on the player in the apartments.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. Just 100 health, stock pistol, no Kevlar at all. Great movement from Nifty. We know Nifty has superstar potential with the stuff that he has shown us in the past. Looks like perhaps we're not live here. Everyone's running around in spawn. Guess we'll find out momentarily as we cut away from the game. Right. This does look like Renegades are in a spot of trouble here.
Spot of bother.
Yeah, knowing that, you go into this knowing that TyLoo's had trouble on the T side. What do? They start T side and they wreck you. That doesn't bode well for Renegades. Of course, you're always just trying to play each round the best way that you can possibly play that round, and that's your focus. If you try to focus on anything else, you start to invite other factors that can create internal pressure, which you don't want. So we're focused on the job at hand, but the job is getting more and more difficult, James.
So one player is having some kind of audio issue, doesn't think he can hear footsteps. So they will sort that out. Better make sure the headphones are plugged in properly. If it's like almost but not quite plugged in, it can make sound really weird. I always liked the USB headsets. I think, yeah, there used to be this foldable one. When I was playing 1.6, which was awesome, but I guess I can't talk about brands too much. 7-1 in favor of TyLoo. I mean, right now Renegade's going to be on the eco. They've got $2,000 per person. If he's got more for the AWP, of course. Yes, Jacob having the issue. He's reconnecting at the moment. This, I mean, this is fantastic for TyLoo. It's a fantastic start. And as we've seen, they can find some comfort on the CT side. I mean, how many rounds do you think Renegades need to have a fighting chance?
So I think it's really hard to say, isn't it, at this point? I mean, Renegades, they need, at this point, every round. We saw how bad TyLoo's T side has been, and we know how good their CT side is, typically. And they don't play a particularly risky CT side. I think the risk taker mainly is somebody with the AWP on towards the B, but when he gets his groove going, he becomes really dangerous and is X factor for the team. So it actually can turn into a strength as much as a liability at certain points. So it's definitely going to be really tough, and Renegades need to find some confidence, because when you move on to that T side, you have to have that confidence to take those peaks and the confidence to be able to make those big plays through these choke points. And that's a different kind of style of play. That's a different kind of mindset versus playing the CT side where you're more defensive and you can piece together the situation more. T side can be, that's why TyLoo sometimes are really cool on T side, because they're such a momentum team and their aim is savage.
Yeah, they've really capitalized on that pistol round that they won. Renegades, by the looks of things, will really need the pistol round on the second half, and they can still pull a reasonable score out of this half, of course. After this eco, presuming they lose it, there will still be, they can still get to 7 rounds. So, as bad as it looks now, doesn't mean it will end in this fashion in the first half. I think Jacob's there re-logging into Steam. I was walking in the back to my room last night, and outside one of the rooms there was a piece of A4 paper with lots of Chinese writing on it, just on the floor immediately outside the door, which I didn't quite understand.
Outside your door?
No, not outside my door. Outside a door. Presumably one of these players. Also, I've been told by some of our staff that yesterday when TyLoo were winning rounds, they were shouting Harosh, which is really funny to me.
That is very random.
That's awesome. Apparently somebody was shouting Harosh when they were winning rounds.
For those of you that don't know, Harosho is kind of like, come on! That's what you'd probably more commonly hear the CIS teams shouting at the end of a 1 round.
The funny thing is, lots of teams who don't speak English shout nice when they win a round. And I think maybe that's like, I don't know if it comes from FPL or something, because otherwise how would they be exposed to it if the whole team doesn't speak English? Just where do you pick up the nice from? But many teams who don't speak English say nice, nice.
It's funny too. I mean, like if for example, it depends on like the culture too. Like for example, let's say in South Korea, you know, in the pop music has English just randomly here or there, just English words. It's global. It's called globalization, James.
Yeah, and Nicholas says it's old school for non-English speaking teams to say nice, but Chinese teams saying Harosh has got to be a new thing, surely.
Yeah, that's quite a strange one, but it's pretty cool. I mean, it's a sign of a more global community, which is really nice, and obviously having, you know, the Asian, you know, scene sort of integrating in that sense with you know, the professional scene from you know, the CIS region or North American region or you know, the Scandinavian region, whatever it is. It's just really cool to see. And TyLoo have, you know, they've gotten better and better over the years. Is apparently, I think, you know, we had Sponge staying on the desk because they could, where the analyst desk is, they're actually near the players, and they, okay, this is not live right now. Okay, so apparently one of the TyLoo players or a couple were just shouting help when they were getting rushes. Just help. It's not like three going B. It's like help, which is amazing. It's very ambit. Just don't ever shout that, by the way. That's like, you know, you can let them do it, but if you're playing Counter-Strike, just good information. You know, 4 pushing me or whatever you have.
If somebody shouted help during one of my games, I would
just like kill them.
Be
just shoot
so
them.
mad.
You just shoot yourself. Here, take this.
So mad.
Take this help.
Yeah.
I'll help you out the round.
It's like when you're playing with a bunch of guys and someone says like, 1 here.
Yeah.
Like, where is here? I don't know where here is. What does that mean? That's not a call.
It's like they're rushing.
Or someone's like B, 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 B. It's like, what does that mean? Does that mean there's 5 people B? Does that mean they've thrown a smoke grenade B? Got to be very explicit as to what is going on, because if one person throws a smoke B and you say B, 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 and your team rotate out of position and 4 people are A, no one's in for a good time.
Explicit, specific.
Yeah.
It is terrific.
Very good, very good.
Yes. Power threes.
So the round has been restored, and it looks like we will be starting soon. We are live indeed, confirmed live. Everyone's alive for now, but soon Renegades might not be. This isn't an elimination match.
Yes,
the loser of this goes home. Are Renegades still based in Vegas?
I believe so, yeah. Well, it is save city for Renegades in this round. TyLoo, they are looking very good to get to 10 rounds at the very least.
Oh, this is how he got the pick in the previous round. Sorry to cut you off there.
Yeah.
Because we saw the smoke at the bottom of Banana had a hole in it. So Bentet's dropping the Molotov. Credit to Sliggy for showing all of that, by the way.
Yeah, good job, Sliggy.
Sliggy, the observer of this major, his first major. And he should have many more. So that's an example of why we think Sliggy's so awesome, because you see the build-up of a round. Bentet throwing the Molotov to stop the smoke grenade doing its proper job, so Execute can hold the angle, and they go towards Config. Yeah, we're safe, we're safe. Oh my god, I'm dead, what happened?
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I did wonder, because of that gap, before, I was like, it seemed like he got, was it like a lineup through the smoke, or was it, oh, there's a gap, was it the gap?
Yeah, and that's what a smoke, I was like, why is the smoke
so now it's confirmed.
Like that?
Sliggy confirmed. Well, there's not too much really to say for Renegades here. Obviously, just stock pistols, they're on the full save. TyLoo should be able to get to 8 rounds, but TyLoo trying to cross the T's, dot the I's, be diligent and thorough.
Some repositioning from Captain Mo to try and continue to get the 1 versus 1. It's traded ultimately, but somebody is there to clean up. DD with no frags in an anti-eco round. Don't see that every day. 8-1 for TyLoo. Renegades back on the buy. Nifty saved for the AWP. A clean double eco from him. Do they continue to go for the aggressive plays? Again, they were unlucky in that first buy round, but that's a long way away now. Renegades with another timeout to discuss what needs to be done. What play they will choose to take. Do they they must recognize what's going on at the bottom of Banana. Like, how do they combat the Molotov, which TyLoo are throwing early on? Do they not smoke? Do they smoke the half wall instead? Because at this point, they can't really get the smoke they want on Banana. So they can't play their own game. TyLoo are taking that away from them. I hope we see more of that. That's really awesome, that Molotov.
Yeah. Yes, it was really cool. Especially, again, like, I was talking previously about the dynamics between the T and CT side and how you handle the utility game on Banana. And considering how often that's been the case, it's been funny that we haven't seen too much. And there it is again. It's absolutely fantastic. And, it's up to Renegades to figure out that's what's been going on. Perhaps they have at this point. And look at the space it creates. Oh my god. Oh, Nifty's fast. You feel like Excurate is really ready for that one, but Renegades do take him down. They re-smoke it, and TyLoo have to continue the round 4v5. But there is very little utility here for the remainder of the round for the Renegades side. And so they're going to try to get aggressive. They've got 3 players on Banana, but they will rotate Nifty now. After Nifty shoots a shot with the AWP, then rotates immediately. So that's quite cool. Trying to maybe shepherd TyLoo towards A, where Nifty is now, but looks like they're going to go back for Banana. This will be fun. A crossfire is awaiting them.
Where is that smoke going? Another one. The meaty grenades. Oh, it looks like they're going to go for the pop flash play through it. They're going straight into the meat grinder, but then here's a flight. Look at one try again. Jacob will get another one. There was a team kill there as well, which will have a big impact in this round because somebody is now alone. Seems TyLoo not expecting that additional grenade on Banana. That's a nice shot from somebody. He's so smart with these plays, and now he's made it a winnable round.
Yeah, this is incredible. A real chance here. Azza and Stillo left. Not the greatest amount of utility. Somebody with 51 HP, so it could be worse. He's looking for the flank. Is he... Whoa. Is he going to run all the way around? That is insane. That is insane, James. He's running all the way around.
Oh my.
I don't think I've ever seen someone try to do this in this situation. Renegades still haven't sucked defuse. It's an open plant as well. They're still not on the defuse. This is actually going to work out. They got no idea what's going on. Oh, could you imagine? They had no kit. Could you imagine?
That's insane. I have never seen that on Inferno. That's a Mirage play.
Wait, is it? Oh my god.
Oh my days! Oh! Oh my god, that has got to be one of the plays of the tournament. Has that ever happened before?
But the fact that Renegades didn't even leave themselves enough time to stick the defuse. That's incredible. Oh, he came off of it.
He had to come off it.
Oh my god.
What a play. Oh!
I can't believe it. Oh my god, somebody. He's got to have some of the biggest balls I have seen in this tournament so far. The amount of balls he plays that he's been making, this guy has no fear at all. Wow, imagine being on the receiving end of that play.
I cannot believe what I just witnessed. I was going to say, like, somebody, even before that rotation came in, somebody has been, he's been on one on Inferno, especially on Inferno. He's been playing out of his mind. That's ridiculous. TyLoo reaching new heights on Inferno, 9-1.
Oh
As
my
Renegades
gosh.
run pistols again.
I feel like you need a timeout, for, like, from Renegade's perspective after that round. You know, that's got to be tilting. Like, you do not expect to lose that round.
That's unbelievable.
That's crazy, because I thought that Azza would just stick the bomb at that point, because you just kind of have to. So I assumed he was just sticking it, and with his teammate was right there covering him. Oh man, that is heartbreaking for the Renegades.
I mean,
This just keeps getting worse and worse for Renegades.
I'm so happy I witnessed that. I'm so happy I witnessed that. That is awesome. The game sense, like how much time do I think they're going to spend trying to find out where I am? And how much time will it take me to go for the most outrageous rotation maybe of all time?
It's crazy because they don't have kits, you know, they can't just... Wow. Wow.
We're going to see that in matchmaking.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear the interpretation of that from the desk later on. See, like, hear their thoughts on it too. That is like one of those moments which can break a team. You know, that's an incredible play from somebody.
But that's TyLoo as well. They are unorthodox, and that is taking unorthodox to a new level.
It's amazing. Yeah, it's like the open. He has the open plant. Was that the plan all along? You know, he goes for the initial frag, you know, shave off the numbers, finds the 1v1. That's what you have to do. Successful, open plan, and just immediately makes the call to go all the way around. That is so impressive.
But let's not forget, when he pushed through the smoke with a pop flash and took out that player to give himself a chance of really winning the round, I don't even know, man. I don't even know. TyLoo is smashing their own glass ceiling. Smashing.
Well, Renegades now, the pressure really is on because they are down 1 to TyLoo's 10, and they need to get at least... They really need all the remaining rounds. Let's not sugarcoat this. That, you know, 3 rounds will be okay. They need absolutely everything. TyLoo are showing a lot of confidence right now, and they are a confidence team. And their CT side is definitely strong, so we'll see if they will compound that confidence into more crazy and successful plays. We'll have the fight over middle here. Nifty is close. Resmoking and staying close. Will he be successful though? Maybe trying to block. And oh, it's going to be a balcony pop here. Renegades have 4 players towards A, so Renegades should have a good defense. My god, the damage from the grenades is enormous. Okay, TyLoo are getting it handed to them in this round.
And this is, I mean, Renegades, they need rounds badly. There's only 4 more to fight for. Still Azza and Nifty lie in wait. Oh, in 2 minds you still out, but he'll get a frag and compound the problems for TyLoo. They don't really have position in this A push. Somebody looking for a flank, and with 4 people towards A, maybe he could find something. JKS jumping, peeking, but no. 42 seconds left, and TyLoo will concentrate on this A bomb site. There's a kill. No trade frag, and Jacob's going back towards the B bomb site. Renegades don't quite know what's going on, and now we've got a 3 versus 2 situation on A.
You just don't want to count TyLoo out, do you, at this point? Given everything that's happened. Looking to creep through CT. It can always be difficult. They don't have time, really. They have to run all the way. This is so difficult. Right now, all Renegades have to do is just play the delay game, and they'll force TyLoo into an impossible situation, surely. Flash up high, easy peek. That's the bomb down on the ground. There's no time to win the round at this point. Renegades have done it off the back of a very strong approach initially. It was a very good round from Renegades. And they'll pick up 1 more, but they need more than that. they have to replicate this success repeatedly here. The half is nearly over.
Two rounds for Renegades. Plenty of money for TyLoo. So the rebuy is here. Execute on the AWP once again. So the internet tells me that Get Right did a rotation like that a few months ago. Props to him. Execute ready for Nifty, waiting for those aggressive plays. So perhaps TyLoo have learned as well from the shenanigans of Optic on their CT sides in the previous Inferno. That is not the start that Renegades wanted. Perhaps trying to capitalize on perceived weaknesses on TyLoo's T side, but maybe some of those holes have been plugged by the Chinese side. 3 CTs towards the A bomb site now. JKS on his own, top of banana, having a look, see what's going on. TyLoo will try to force back the CTs, try to deny them information. You see, as they're trying to block, create a gap, and he will do that. It'll be good for close range. Captain Mo's got to be careful. It's a big headshot from him.
3v4 for Renegades. Out goes JKM. Decapitates Captain Mo. But he has 3 members left, ready to capitalize. DD finds the opening at a clear A bomb site, and the bomb will rush into position. They've got 2 smokes. They can just lock off this A site. I don't know if there's a way back in here for Renegades. JKM, can he find something before the smokes bloom? Looks like that's not the case. It's safe, and that is the GG for this round, surely. However, Renegades, do they feel as though they can give up rounds? A 2v3 after plant is so difficult. They need rounds so badly. Their money sucks so much. There is just no easy decision at this point for Renegades. Everything is just desperation mode. TyLoo are having a hell of a game at the moment. And I think a lot of us are waiting, like wanting to see a lot of play out of somebody still. Because after that clutch, after, you know, thinking about what he was able to accomplish yesterday on the CT side, who doesn't want to see more of that?
He is an absolute maniac. It is fantastic. That is some personality to get behind as a fan. That's really awesome to see somebody make crazy plays like that. Jeez. But there isn't even time for Renegades to reel from that one round because they are 9 rounds behind. So there's Azza blocking the smoke, but Mo, I don't even know what he's seeing. I can't see what he's seeing. Cool, blimey.
11-2 for TyLoo. Elimination match. Loser of this one is out of the FACEIT London Major. TyLoo looking strong at keeping their chances alive. They would have one more match to win if they want to make it to the next stage, but not there just yet. Renegades kicking things off with a decent amount of utility, but they're lacking the AWP and full rifles here. 2 SMGs instead of the M4s. Not ideal. Looking like they want to set up that mid take, and there's 3 players. Renegades have a good setup to defeat a top mid take. It's where the rounds could start and also end on that top mid position. 4 players there now for Renegades. TyLoo are going into the Lion's Den, James.
What does Jacob have in response? He's got a HE grenade to deploy. Nifty avoiding 2 of the flashes, but there are more. The crossfire is still working out for the CTs in the short term, but there are many TyLoo players here. And another multi-kill round for him. 3 versus 2. They're chasing Azza down, but he manages to fall back. Welcomes the tease of a HE grenade. 4 flashbangs, extra down. DD now. 1 versus 2. But only Jacob's on the side going for the plants. Can't reposition. Round number 3 for Renegades.
That Molotov was awesome from TyLoo. I don't know if you saw that. There was the boost up onto the elevated position next to the boiler. And you can see it there, the fire just falling on that position. It's covering a lot with 1 Molotov. Nice detail there from TyLoo, but a 4-man setup from Renegades. It's pretty difficult to stop. They have the ideal positions to deal with exactly what TyLoo are throwing at them. So that is a much needed fortune for them. And they can get onto the AWP again, which is great for Nifty. AK on JKS. TyLoo, there's a lot of things they can go to here. You can see that Renegades mixing it up. 3 players on that B area to offer up a defense. And TyLoo once again just taking it really slow. If they're going to go banana, it's going to be delayed. It looks like that will be the case, a delayed banana. Oh, that's huge.
Big indeed. Now we've got 3 men rotating towards the A bomb side. This time it'll be Nifty alone towards B. They are changing things up. It's been JKS on his lonesome round after round, but Renegades are trying to adjust in this last round of the first half. Bentet's still waiting on T-ramp with the bomb, so this may not necessarily be a B play, but obviously they've got no control of banana. There's still a smoke there. DD taking Jacob out. Maybe that will encourage them to press on. Bentet now collecting the bomb, but if Nifty starts to move forward, there may be a really weird situation as far as the bomb is concerned. Plenty of time, though, for TyLoo to continue to press on in this 5 versus 3. Captain Mo waiting for the smoke to go. And there's Azza top mid, but there's so much to do. Can't get a multi-frag this time. We see Nifty fall to the floor. The last frag from Bentet for a 12-3 scoreline in favor of TyLoo at halftime.
Well, today is looking very different from yesterday so far, James. The first game expected to be somewhat of an open and close case, but this, I think it was always difficult to predict which way this would go, but TyLoo have found some strength here, and right now, Renegades are in a horrible position. And they need to show something that I don't know that we've seen from Renegades in a long time to actually bring themselves back in this particular instance. Because TyLoo, they're just such an electric team. TyLoo do not seem to have any issue throwing their all at any situation. That never seems to be a problem. And it looks messy sometimes, but the spirit is always high. And into the pistol we go. Renegades, it's a must-win.
If Renegades can win the pistol and go 6-12, there is a lot of opportunity, as bad as the score will still look. But let's see if they can win that pistol. They've got all 5 players here. Very fast round from them. Somebody taken out immediately. There are 2 more CTs to catch. Bentet, not sure if he's been spotted just yet, but now he has. Mo's taken out as well. Bentet, what can he do? 2 frags for him. And this might be the pistol. It's DD versus 3, and he'll be dispatched off very quickly indeed. So that is the first hurdle over and done with. Again, don't think of it as 8 rounds. Think of it as 1 round 8 times, as a sports psychology person may say. Psychologist.
Psychology person.
Are you a person of psychology? Yes, I'm a psychologist. All right then, we have the bye for TyLoo. So this will be a dangerous round for Renegades. Now, let's see if they choose to have another fast one. They'll keep it simple. Starting with a focus on banana. Nothing too aggressive for TyLoo just yet.
I actually did an episode on my podcast about that very topic, about dealing with pressure. Mental resilience, very recently. Double Mac 10, triple AK. Classic anti-eco setup. Anti-force spike. TyLoo looking for an opportunity. There are very limited opportunities here though. And good work from Renegades, forcing out the utility as soon as they possibly can from TyLoo. Eventually they won't have it left. Oh my god, somebody, don't know how he picks that one up, but he will. That's okay. Renegades have, 1 or 2 expendable players. Those Mac 10, those Mac 10s provide that. And we'll see Renegades switching things up, going towards A. Now, Captain Mo has had some crazy deagle rounds. If this is to be one of those, I fear for Renegades. Oh.
No tag there, no mark on the clothes of Azza. Still looking new, can be taken back for a refund. Smoke in the library, Nifty's bell gets rung, but if they can take out this pit player, this should be a strong position. He is isolated. Do they know that someone is there? They do now. Can't get anything done, DD, and this round becomes better for Renegades, especially with 2 players stuck in the choke point that is a library. Really hard in any situation for a CT to get a frag from here. So here we go. I think at this point we're looking at a 6-12 scoreline for Renegades. Now, They most certainly have a puncher's chance. If they can win that first buy round, keep TyLoo on the arse end of their economy, they could quickly get to double figures here.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely doable, and it's, I think, a pretty good circumstance for us as viewers, because we'll get to see more play out of TyLoo on their TT side. You know, they are a pretty exciting team, and I think, you know, the shenanigans we saw from somebody with the AWP on Banana yesterday was just it was just outrageous. It's just, you can't, it's one of those things where you're looking at it like, this is just insane. Why would someone ever be doing these things? And you know, he's loving it and getting away with it, and it's just, that's just so fun to watch. And so hopefully we'll get to see some of that. But for the time being, it is of course still safe territory for TyLoo. Hopefully they'll just run down middle, James, and just get it over with, so we can get into those AWP buys. Will they have enough for an AWP? Execute will, but no one else.
You will have money for the AWP. I don't know if you'll have money for Kevlar though. We're not too far away from finding out. Well then, assuming we make it to 6-12, what are the targets for Renegades? Break the first buy. Mentally. Break the first buy. Get to 7-12. You've got one eco. Get to 8-12. It's a long road. It's an arduous road, but it is doable. Excuse me. As you can see, Jacob has his headset off. He's having fun with audio. So perhaps he is rebooting his game or something. He's not on the server right now. Now he is on the server. Boom, just like that. I really want the Krieg racing skin. But there are no minimal wear on the market, which is probably a good thing because they're really expensive right now, and I have no self-restraint, Dan. So,
indeed, indeed. It's interesting. You know, one of the things that makes life difficult for Renegades when they are in positions like this is, you know, from a psychology perspective, one thing that's very helpful is having reference points. So let's say you're a team that's, you know, won a bunch of championships. Sometimes you just go on this crazy streak, and it's very difficult against, like, it's very difficult to beat a team like that because when they've had so much success, they've got so many positive reference points mentally that it's very hard to push them into a position where they don't feel like they can just always win any situation, no matter how bad it looks, because the positive experiences are overwhelming against the negative ones. And then when you're in a situation like Renegades are, they have so many negative reference points, and that it's very difficult to, in a game that's so based around confidence, it's very difficult to keep grounding yourself into a position of confidence and into a position of finding those positive reference points, because they are so few and far between. So that's one of the challenges that a team like Renegades has, and it's one of the reasons why teams switch up lineups, because that fresh start kind of like cleans the slate, and you feel like you can just let go of all of those past troubles that you've had and reinvent yourself. And so that's one thing that Renegades will be probably fighting against at the moment as well. I think pauses like this actually hurt them more than help them.
I think in terms of players and changes, I think we've seen with some teams where they will change one player to try and fix something. But part of the problem is the general like approach of the team, which won't change because that person won't have a significant voice, assuming it's not an in-game leader, for example, versus changing two at a time, where together those two voices will have more respect and impact in a team, and then you can have a greater change to your identity. So I think that it can take longer for a team who are having a lot of difficulty to improve if they replace one player at a time versus two, where you can really become something new as opposed to the same with slightly more shine, if you will.
Yeah, I think, you know, it also means that it's much more likely that you'll switch roles up in a team as well. So you won't be sort of just stuck in this cycle of something that you've just been doing all the time. You're sort of forced to learn some new patterns, learn new behaviors. You're forced to put more work in, and that can also be really beneficial to just sort of help you remove any of the bad habits that you may have picked up that may have been sort of cemented.
What's interesting about all these Infernos with Renegades that we've seen so far is that I don't think Inferno is the best map for an explosive sniper like Nifty. So obviously I think the more open maps we would see him able to do more, which can be an issue for Renegades. He is still top fragging for the team though, with 13 kills at the moment. Well, actually that might not be correct because the round needs to be restored. But I'm pretty sure he's doing well. But only 5 rounds. Only 5.
Man, honestly, this for me is just it's just killer for Renegades. Pause like this, even though they're in the better position. I mean, for them as well, like you don't really want to sort of zoom out and think about the whole situation. You do just want to think, okay, we're playing an anti-eco, and in some cases you want your leader. He's the guy that calls and says, okay, we're running this type of an anti-eco or anti-force buy round, and so they just know, like all the players just know what they're supposed to do. I think you just want them to sort of shut their minds off and just go through the paces. And but when you have spots like this where you can't even talk really, like you're kind of forced to kind of soak in the overall picture of what's happening, which is a potential early exit for the team, and how much fight do you have? How much spirit is left?
What if you could have a device on your table to keep focused, to keep zoned in, like a Rubik's Cube, or I used to go into Barnes and Noble, right? Because they had this section with puzzles, and they had these puzzles with varying difficulties, which were really could be. I'd always pick the hardest ones because I'm not 10.
Well, what you're saying is a really good point, because I think people actually mistake it. Like meditation is actually just a form of focus. Actually, people think, oh, you just go really mindless and stuff, but it's actually just focus. And just being very focused on one thing specifically, and just letting all the other thoughts just like pass you by, so you stay very grounded. And so I think that is actually something that could be really useful. But we don't see anyone do that really, do we?
No.
You're ahead of the game, James. You're ahead of the curve.
Yeah, I'm big on mental stimulation, which is why I keep learning random things, completely random things. There's I've always wanted to be able to drive like one of those JCB digger things. And in Las Vegas, there's a place where you can go and drive one of those and just like dig holes and just move dirt and stuff.
I feel like
I want to do it next time.
You're just, without realizing it, you are preparing yourself for the zombie apocalypse. Slowly but surely. You haven't done anything survival based yet though, right? You wouldn't be able to survive if you're dropped in the middle of the Amazon, you wouldn't be able to survive, right?
Sorry, Dan. I just got an update. So it appears to be an issue with the major client itself, and as I understand it, Valve are connected to his computer, fiddling about with things. So, so it is a client thing. I wonder if it's like they have like some remote desktop thing going on, or how they do it. But they're in there with the screwdrivers and hammers and things. What were you saying about zombie apocalypse?
I was just saying you're sort of inadvertently, unknowingly preparing yourself for it. Although you need to pick up some survival skills, like learn how to survive. If you're dropped in the Amazon with a knife and nothing else, that's all you need.
If I was dropped in the Amazon, I'd be terrified, because if I come across one of those uncontacted tribes, they're going to kill me.
Yeah.
Without a moment's hesitation.
I'd be more worried about
I am going to be murdered immediately.
The snakes rather than the cannibals and the various insects and diseases you could.
The funny thing is, like, they would kill me, but I'd probably kill them as well, because in the sense that they don't have the immunities that we do, which is why like there's an island just off of India which has a tribe in, and I think like one person went there. I think he got murdered, but also like loads of them died because they don't have the immunities that he has to things that he might be carrying. So
yeah.
So yeah, if one of us is dropped in the Amazon, then just like everyone's gonna die.
And as we were talking about like sports psychology and stuff, you can search DDK Talks Esports. I go through some stuff like that, and very many other topics around Counter-Strike and esports. Might be interesting if you're looking for podcasts related to esports. Got to get the self-promotion out there, James. I usually don't do that at all, but
no, I want to do not a podcast, but I want to do a video series like those. I forget those twin brothers, the mixed race guys with blue eyes or whatever. They do like relationship advice. That's the thing. I want to have like a mailbag. People ask questions, and then you and I can sit down and
You used to do
and debate from our very different perspectives what people should be doing with their lives.
No, you used to do YouTube.com/team Bardolph Beautician, where it's just you are the team, and you are Bardolph and you're a beautician, and you just like review beauty products.
My beautician's actually posting me some kind of present. She's asking me for an address. Yeah, which is nice of her.
Nice.
Yeah. So maybe while this delay is on, people should tweet me some questions. If you need relationship advice, you know, Dan and I, we're the people, man. we got your back. So
we have all the angles covered.
tweet me your questions while Valve work on this this client thing, and let's do it. We are the people for this.
Where's the music, guys?
Yeah, where is the music?
Come on.
There we go.
There we go. Thank you very much. It seemed like something was missing.
Yeah.
This changes everything. It changes everything.
Dum da dum da dum. Right, I'm gonna check my Twitter and see if I have any questions yet. It's taking a second to load.
Yeah, feel free to engage with us on the tweeters. At DDK Esports, at James Bardolph. Send us questions or whatever you want. We've been sent many weird things. You can't surprise us at this point. I've been on the internet for too long to be surprised by anything.
I've been trying to tell you. So, I just meant in general.
But it's crazy. It's crazy.
Okay. Swish asks, how do you approach a girl that isn't aware of your existence? So a girl doesn't know you exist.
Fireworks.
Okay, Dan says fireworks. I say it depends. It depends on the situation. You've got to give us more detail, like where is this person, and how do you, like, is it you in like a school, work? Is it a person that works in a store, something like that? Humor's always good. Hopefully you have some. If you don't, you're pretty much screwed.
What about flowers? Flowers, girls like flowers.
If a girl doesn't know you and you're like, hey, look, I've got these flowers, they're calling the police that.
Oh, right, yeah.
That's a police matter immediately.
Oh, man. The music helps a lot, I gotta say. Again, though, this does look painful for Renegades. I'd be getting out the Sudoku book right now. That's my puzzle.
These questions are poverty, man. I'm sorry, but like the things I've read so far are pretty bad. Somebody says talk about wrestling and why you like it. I don't know if I can really explain why I like wrestling. I grew up with it. I enjoy the storytelling. Although I think where the mainstream wrestling is, I don't think I'm the target audience for that anymore. They're not really. It's not what it used to be, so I'm more about the New Japan Pro Wrestling at the moment. So I enjoy the storytelling. I enjoy the. It's not just about like what they do in the ring, but like the character, the emotion.
Looks like we should be going live in a moment, just so you guys know.
Alrighty then.
About a minute to go.
I got a funny message from someone, but I'm not going to read that in case it exposes them.
Okay. Can't you just...
I like a chick who lives another state away, but she want to take it super slow. The hell do I do? Well, it's going to be slow if she's in another state, isn't it? So whether she wants to take it slow or not, it's going to be slow.
Send her some flowers.
Because she's miles away. I don't know, man. That's a tough one. If you have distance between two people, depends on how old you are, how much money you have, if you're able to move or not, how accessible you two are to each other in terms of, okay, I've got the weekend off, I can go here and do this and do that. At least flights are cheap in America, so you can hop around, or relatively cheap anyway. So yeah, it depends on how much you like him. But it sounds like he just wants to get down, so you better get some lyrics, boy.
That's a good way to get girls, James, to become a famous rapper.
One guy says how to do long distance well. The way you do long distance well is by not doing long distance.
Yeah.
That's the only way.
Yeah. Long distance is pretty rough.
Quite simply. You have to make sacrifices. Gotta pack your bag.
It can't be long distance forever. That has to be the goal. I don't think it can work forever. It has to be the goal that it's not going to last for. It has an expiration date at some point. But each situation is very specific too.
Okay, so a guy says, girl seems to... Wait, no, never mind that one. There's a girl at work who I think is into me. I'm into her. What should I do? You should talk to her. Not even like hit on her. Just talk. Just be cool.
Yeah. And
chill and funny. That's more interesting to me. Like, well, hello. I've seen you from across the room, and now I'm not across the room. What do we do about this? That's not cool, man. So, just be cool and things will come naturally, or they won't.
That's
Either one is fine.
It's gonna be normal, right?
Yeah, just be a normal person.
Because I think sometimes you become infatuated with the idea of someone as opposed to what someone actually is like.
I'm not saying like, well, I mean,
just figure it out by being chill.
Yeah, just spending time with each other is cool. Not like, hey, would you like to go to bowling? But
find a common interest.
Just chatting, just talking about stuff.
Common ground. Maybe it's Counter-Strike.
Which came first, the chicken or the eggs? I'm just going to pass on that one.
Yeah, not really going to entertain that one.
That's not a very good question.
I'm trying to be smart, but it sucks.
Where is the romantic place to take your significant other for dinner? It doesn't really matter. Like, it shouldn't matter where you go in that sense. Well, it depends on how cringe you are. Some people are cringe, right? I'd be like, oh, let's go to this place with like candles and stuff. Like, I would never go to. That's just not me. I'm not about that life. So, for me, Bagel King in Woolworth Road at 2 o'clock in the morning is the romantic place. Going there to get some jerk chicken, some rice, some plantain, some cocoa bread.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? It's like that question is answered by how well you know your partner and also your relationship as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's how that one's answered.
Yeah, it depends on the kind of people you are
and
the kind of places you can have fun in. Like, I'm a troll, so I can just have fun anywhere and just be an idiot. So it doesn't matter where I am. So the more flexible you are, the better. We have 9 people on the server at the moment. Okay, I've just been told by production that Valve have sent a string of code which the admins are about to implement to see if that solves the issue. I didn't know that this kind of thing was possible, which is quite interesting. So at least we get some more kind of inner workings into how things happen here. But yeah, for those of you, I think some people didn't realize that there was like a major client, essentially, like different to normal client. You've seen the veto process, for example, during a major. Sometimes it's been shown on camera, so that's something which isn't in the normal client. I couldn't tell you more than that because I'm not the one programming it. I don't know what else it does. I guess in the fashion in which it's tied to Go TV and how the matches are displayed and all that kind of stuff requires a special client.
And that's been causing us problems. That's the special client. It's very special, James. It's very particular. It's very temperamental. Much like yourself.
Thank you very much.
What else do we have, James?
How do we like the design of the FACEIT stickers? I think they're cool.
Yeah, I really like them, actually.
Yeah, I mean, there's an art team at Valve who do their own thing, so you don't really get input into how they come out. So it's a surprise to us, it's a surprise to you. But I'm pretty cool. I'm pretty pleased. I was looking at the Hellraisers one yesterday. I really like. I mean, they have a really strong red color, which contrasts really well with other, with skins in the game and so on. So I think Hellraisers in particular often have a really nice sticker. But I think in particular their one for this major is pretty good.
I like that Valve sort of just take it on themselves to just do it. You don't have too many cooks in the kitchen. I think it makes sense from the point of view, indeed, because I'm sure every organizer just wants like the team logo and minimalist, like the Katowice stickers, right? But then in that sense, they would all be the same if. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, no, I like them. I just wish that we had some talent stickers in there as well. But we're not there yet. Who knows if we'll ever get there. That would be cool.
I want a sticker in the game, James. Where's our signature?
I have a dream of like having some Team Bardolph team qualify for a major, and there's just my face.
Yeah.
It would sell. People would buy it. Okay, excuse me, I'm just reading. I have 153 tweets to read at the moment, but there's many of them aren't really either appropriate for the broadcast or just not good questions.
Oh, yeah. James laying down the law. Yeah, a lot of people want to see whether or not TyLoo going to eliminate Renegades or not. It's close. Oh, we're ready to go.
Ooh,
Did you have something, James? You want to get something in? Squeeze it in there?
Well, someone said, what's your smooth move with the ladies?
Pirouette.
Just being
with flowers.
Being someone that you can talk to without being that guy who wants to hear, you know, all their problems and you get friend zone. There's a balance in between, but just being chill and an interesting person.
Your answers are so
don't try too hard.
Serious, man.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, just don't try too hard. If you try too hard, you will fail.
It is true.
Don't try too hard.
It's true.
Don't try and say, oh, if I say this, they might be impressed. No, be you. If they don't like it, they can buzz off. So we are about to continue things. Valve have done their little Skynet stuff, and here we are. 5-12 is the scoreline. And indeed, Nifty is a top fragger at the moment for Renegades. The rest of the team will have to step up, especially on this T side. TyLoo are on an eco, and it has been 2 rounds in a row for Renegades in this second half. They won the pistol, they won the anti-force buy, and now TyLoo will try to get something done with these USPs.
Yep, so just run an anti-eco round, keep it simple. You know, we've seen this before. In fact, they're going to go fast. Oh, the triple stack. Hello! Will be eliminated, but it's a lovely idea. It was entertaining. We were entertained, but now it's over. And the round is almost over as well, because that was 3 players in that little tower. This call in, you know, 1.6. There was no limit to the towers. You could 5 people if you wanted on top of each other. You know, skybox permitting and so on. And well, just Bentet creeping around. He's got a smoke and Kevlar, so if he's able to find someone overstepping, going a bit too far, maybe he can steal an AK. That's what he's thinking. But it's unlikely that will happen, and so the bomb will detonate and will be into the next buy round. But that will be Renegades on 6 and TyLoo. Will somebody have an AWP? I don't think that he will. No. No, he will not. He will have, let's see.
Extra's got 3250.
The Extra will have that, not somebody. I want to see somebody's shenanigans.
Extra, though,
on Banana Man.
Extra is $100 short of a helmet, but he's going to buy it regardless. Oh, of course, he's on CT side, so it doesn't matter so much. And back in the room.
Yeah, James.
Back in the room. All right, then. Renegades have half the score of TyLoo. They have some little momentum at this point on their side, but they have some. This is a very important round. With 12 rounds on the board for TyLoo, Renegades, one could argue, can afford to lose a round here or there, but very few, and it must be far in between. Tactical timeout for Renegades. This is their last timeout that they have available at this point. So they've got to make it work. Everybody focusing, getting together on the same page. All right, boys, let's take this. Opportunity lies in front of us. Pep talk, and then they're good to go.
Okay, this is it. Renegades build that momentum. This is the chance. Excurate, typically the mid-AWPer arch side player here for the TyLoo side. We'll have a simple passive approach here from TyLoo in this round. They won't go too hard. They don't really have grenades. They don't have the double AWP setup. I think that's when they really like to get aggressive on Banana, when they have that second AWP in tow, but that's not the case here. So we'll see a quick boost there of somebody with the M4, and oh, he's got a UMP, my bad. And we'll have Renegades maybe thinking about going pretty fast towards B. They have players to try to delay rotation on the A side of the map. So he's still pushing out a boiler. Oh, he's going to get caught by Captain Mo, though, on the angle. That's not a good sign for Renegades.
I feel like we haven't spoken enough about Captain Mo. He's been pulling out some big frags across the matches for TyLoo as well. Everybody's been delivering, really. Again, in the past, we've always looked so much to Bentet, And I mean, he's got 15 frags here. He's pulling his weight, as is everybody else, but there's been so many MVP plays by TyLoo in different rounds. Speaking of Bentet, that's the bomb on the floor now. JKS and Azza may be trying to offer something towards the A site, but this first buy versus buy is not going well for Renegades. They haven't got a single kill in this round.
Yeah, this is really terrible right now. Trying to salvage the situation. The bomb is on the other side of the map, of course, let's not forget, and there's less than 30 seconds. So here they're just trying to work some damage in at the very least. See if they can get something, get at least a single kill. Azza, is he good for it? No, not a single frag. That is hugely important for TyLoo. Their money is going to be pretty good. Not to mention that, they've got 4 AK-47s, James.
Oh my god.
Wow, he is on point. What a beautiful spray transfer from him. Great control. Captain Mo, just as you mentioned, great job there.
Just look at this HUD. One buy round has passed, and the CTs have got 4 AK-47s and an AWP. So what advantage is there for Renegades at this point? The one taps are equal.
TyLoo don't have to go to the double ops just yet. They've got the 4 AKs, but they want to get cheeky with them. Playing pretty passively here, and one would imagine that they'll likely give up on Banana soon enough, but they do have somebody creeping down, and at this point, you just don't know what he's going to be doing. Is he going to push the smoke? Looks like he wants to do it. Is there going to be a flash from a teammate, or is he going to back away? Looks like he's going to back away. Renegades have options. Take top mids, retake Banana, those are the options. They really do need to retake Banana though, because if they don't, that flank is going to be devastating. Ooh, close.
Seven rounds away with Renegades. They didn't plant the bomb in the previous rounds. So if they lose this round, that will not bode well, to put it mildly. Nifty landing the shot on Excurate, avoiding the blind fire. And somebody's made his way through. That's the bomb, but he hasn't seen it. They're flanking these teams at top mid, but teams have got to go back and get this bomb. There are only 30 seconds left. Bentet has no idea that the bomb is behind him. It's around the corner on the ramp. This is so awkward. 26 seconds. Do they win by elimination? Bentet still at the bottom.
Oh, is he
He's going to find it. Oh, hello. That's the bomb on the radar.
I don't think he saw it.
He must have seen it, surely.
No, he's running around like
God, he's got no idea. He hasn't seen it. That is such a small edge. But there's 12 seconds. They haven't got time to rotate. He's just saving his weapon. They've got to go to it for elimination.
Oh,
JKS, this is the weirdest thing ever.
Does he know what's at stake? He must surely know at this point. Oh my god! How on earth has this happened? Bentet had absolutely no idea. He was just trying to save his gun, James. Oh my god. Oh my god. What on earth is that? I don't think I've ever seen that before. I've never seen this before. Bentet completely unaware. He's just trying to save James. He's just trying to save his gun. And they know exactly where he is because he's running. Because he doesn't think anyone could be near him.
After that kill from JKS, he must have started to realize, hold on a second. They're trying to kill me. They don't have time to plant the bomb, or something's happened with the bomb. I've got to hide. Three AKs and 2 pistols. Oh my god.
Oh, there's so many soul-crushing things that have happened. Is that the straw that broke the camel's back? Renegades trying to burst into the B-bomb site. It looks successful. 2 quick entries, and they have a decisive advantage here.
Yeah, that should be an instant save for TyLoo, and they started to move towards the B-bomb site, but Didi and Captain Mo realized, nope, we've got no money in the bank, so a sigh of relief again. Renegades could afford, not monetarily, but in terms of winning and losing the match, they could afford to lose a round here or there, but that time has passed now. TyLoo on 14 rounds. They can't really lose any more rounds here, Renegades. Collecting some weapons in this round, picking up an M4A4. They need everything they can get, and TyLoo needs to hold on to everything they can. What an absurd round. We have seen 2 of the most bizarre rounds on Inferno in one match. The 1 versus 3, at least it was, from somebody in the first half, and now that one. Completely unaware about the bomb.
Can't believe it. I can't believe it. It's I can't believe what just happened. To lose in this situation, of all situations, your major life is on the line. For that to be the way that you lose a round, you know, not like this. Not like this. Renegades. It was a good response straight afterwards. Explosive play to steal the round. And now they've got TyLoo on the ropes, economically speaking. 2 CZs to fill out their buy. But the AWP is still in play on Execurate. DD and Captain Mo still with M4s. Perhaps aggression here on Banana from them. They try at least, but nicely timed Molotov there from Renegades will delay the push. But Execurate, instead of playing middle, now he's playing towards Banana. Will they expect this? That allows them to stack 4 towards A, this TyLoo CT side. Giving the responsibility to the ever-sturdy Execurate, playing B by himself with the AWP. Smart stuff from TyLoo. Can Renegades bust open this bomb site, though?
4 CTs on the A bomb site. Smokes all over the place. Somebody getting around the corner just in time. Bentel off to a good start. Got DD for a fake fella. Can't get anything done though. There is a trade and DD still alive for the time being, but he won't last very long. Bob looking to get planted. And now Execurate, perhaps it is time to save the AWP. But he continues to press forward for the time being. Is he looking for a cheeky frag or what is he looking for? They have no money. They have no kit, so I don't know what his plan is. Azza is top mid, but doesn't seem to have heard Execurate's scope. This will be a round for Renegades.
Yep, thank goodness for them. You know, there's no better response than when you lose a horrible situation such as they did to sort of just get your minds back in the game immediately. That's a good sign. Get that, you know, rush working in for them. TyLoo push onto the ropes economically. You finish him off. Renegades giving themselves a chance back in this one. Such a struggle. It's been such a struggle for them this tournament. If you think about the Inferno yesterday against Space Soldiers, that game, it was just a desperate struggle all of the way into overtime where they were barely able to secure it, although it did look good in overtime, but not in regulation. And then now against TyLoo, up against such a fine line. The margin for error is now 0. And the kinds of errors we have seen have been pretty much the most tilting you can imagine. Renegades still in it to win it. Good economy behind them. Good couple T rounds behind them as well.
So it appears that they have a continuing issue. The thing that Valve are playing around with appears to be persisting. So hopefully that can get sorted out quickly. So 2 rounds in a row for Renegades. They've got 5 from the 7 in this half. This time it's the CT rounds which have been sparse. As yesterday it was all about the CT rounds, at least in some games. But it seems the tables have turned. So indeed, Renegades, they're doing a good job of keeping the CT economy poor, but how long can it last for? That is the question. They are still 6 rounds behind, and that will feel like miles to catch up with TyLoo. Where do you think this one's going, Dan? Do you think Renegades can tie the score?
I don't think so. I think TyLoo have a great advantage. I think we've yet to see the double ops, and that's pretty scary. However, I mean, it definitely, you know, Renegades are absolutely capable. It's just, you know, more likely for TyLoo, of course. I think I'd be insane to say otherwise. And, you know, this is a very frustrating circumstance that Renegades are under. And, you know, the delays plus being against the wall like this. But, of course, you know, to be in this position in the first place, you only have yourselves to blame, of course.
People who are in worse positions. One team may be Virtus Pro, and I do have a question from Twitter, and I ask it to you, Dan. What do you think about Virtus Pro and their current situation? Do you see the legends leaving soon, such as Pasha and Neo?
It's difficult, isn't it? I mean, if you look at Pasha and Neo, it depends on whether they've lost the passion for the game. You know, their identities through adolescence into adulthood, into maturity, is being defined by Counter-Strike. So it's hard to see them just disappear, and you know, in some cases it happens. but I would imagine that they're always going to be around just because of their legacy and the history they have with the game and how it shaped them as people. And I think they have a lot of wisdom, if nothing else, to add to the game, whether it be as coaches or players to other teams. So it really depends on like what position they want to see themselves in with CS. But you never know. I mean, Pasha has a family man, and Neo obviously as well has a lot of stuff going on outside of the game. So I don't want to see them leave. For me, it's sad to see the passing of an era such as that. Legacies of the game, they've given so much to us from an entertainment perspective and otherwise through Counter-Strike, and I would love to see that continue in whatever form it possibly could. But
I have another question. I am a sports psychologist looking to go into esports. Do you think that this is becoming a viable career path? Had a lot of negative reception to it. I think something like sports psychology should be applicable to anything that requires competition. So in terms of career path, I think that I don't know if it's necessarily a path per se. It's just one of many different things you can do. But absolutely, I think as we have more esports which are growing, Overwatch League is an example, obviously CSGO, with more teams, with more tools, with more backing as well, as we've seen plenty of teams in CSGO as well. I think there's more opportunity for sports psychology in general. So, I mean, there's a chance you could find something. I suppose you'd need to approach teams with CV, cover letter, and so on, and maybe some kind of slides as to why sports psychology is beneficial, and availability for travel and so on. Make sure you are speaking the right language, and maybe some examples.
I mean, to me, it's like insanely underrepresented, because the mental aspect of the game is, especially in a game like Counter-Strike, where there's so many moments for performance. Every single decision that you make, and trying to tie in the executional element with all of the outside factors and how you deal with that. It's a professional sport, and it's highly demanding in many respects. And the mental aspects of the game are the biggest edges to gain. Honestly, the mental, like, you can have a player that's incredibly talented, but if they're emotionally unstable or they're unable to deal with some of those mental challenges that you face, whether it's a slump or any of the varying other things that can affect your performance, that's you get massive value from sports psychology. And the thing is that players don't have time. They don't have the time to be psychology professors themselves. You need to get experts in who are specialists in their fields, and the players can do the playing, and you can guide them as best. You can tailor approach for that specific person, and that's highly valuable for any team. I would be surprised.
I think
we don't see a lot more of it.
I think that esports is actually. Actually, I don't know if unique is the right word, because you see some like 17-year-old footballers playing for national teams these days, but you have a lot of young people in Counter-Strike who have a lot to learn about the world and a lot of maturing to do. And we have a lot of young players with different teams who may have like a bad or rage attitude, or unable to control their emotions all the time when they're younger, and don't really haven't historically had the guidance, where they haven't had those sports psychologists and so on in the past. So I think in that sense there is plenty of space for that. But we're going to go to a break while this issue is being worked on. Apologies for the delays, but we will be back as soon as possible. It appears that the match is about to resume. Cross your fingers, get your Kim K emoji game on, and get those finger crossings going. Don't have them installed myself, of course. Well then, just a reminder for those of you just joining us, or for those of you who've been with us as well, 8-14 is the score in favor of TyLoo. Renegades are on a T side, and they have advantages for the moment. Just waiting for a round restore, so the weapons return, so on and so forth, and then we should be good to go. Just before we start, Dan, I think I should read my favourite question.
Okay.
From a chap who says, "So I have been dating this girl, and now we are a couple. Been together 4 years now, but now my dad is marrying her mum, so she's going to be my stepsister. What do I do?" I don't have an answer for your question, buddy. You're on your own.
Elope.
You're on your own with that one.
Elope. Right. Yeah, we'll be soon back into this.
So Machine tweeted earlier when that bomb issue happened, and he said, I just listened to TyLoo's comms as they slowly realized Renegades didn't have the bomb. As they won, I heard them cheer, nice, ... what? So they've moved from Harosh to nice. Everyone's on a nice train.
Nice.
Nice.
It's just cathartic, isn't it? It's just a cathartic thing, little thing you can say. Because that's really what you want to be doing. It's just like a release of energy, isn't it? So it could really be anything, but...
So when you're at home, you just make noises, just
Yeah,
mouth noises. The more you know.
We're back in. 14 for TyLoo, 8 for Renegades. Can Renegades stave off TyLoo for another few rounds? Because TyLoo will be back on some big buys soon enough. We've yet to see somebody AWPing Banana, and I've been looking forward to that for quite some time. This game's been going on for a while now, and I want that I want it to happen. Either way, Renegades playing another anti-eco round, and the Excurate who poses any threat. He is towards the the quad position, so he could do some damage. This would be a good way for TyLoo to get into this round.
Excurate appears to be on fire. Really wants the first frag, but the crouch peek will avoid the situation, and he's going to... Well, I was going to wonder if he was changing position immediately. Renegades are choosing to avoid the AWP. They know that everybody else will be ill-equipped. They will leave JKS and maybe Jacob to pull off the rotation. Yustilo's got to be careful here, but the... Oh, the USP, somebody plays it. So look at that snap from Yustilo. That was quite the 180. That is a man in control of his mouse. And now it is save time for TyLoo. They need to hold on to this AWP.
Ooh, Excurate does some damage here. Just pushing forwards. After that kill, you know that they're all on the B bomb site. You can go and save, but he's just going to make it more expensive for them. He's going to really make it more difficult for them to go and kill him.
Well, that's the advantage of the AWP, especially once the AK is picked up. He knows they are going to come to take these weapons away. If he can get the angle before the T's get there, then he is at the advantage. They are running into his crosshair, and the frags will be delivered. Now, Renegades, they can survive this the costly chase that they've had here. It is important for them to take these weapons away, but the remainder of the team are not in position to do so. Now Renegades are only 5 rounds away. If they can win the next buy round of TyLoo, then I think they will be rising very quickly in confidence.
Yeah, it's definitely looking really good at the moment for Renegades. But you know, as mentioned, TyLoo back on the full buy. Still not seeing the double AWP from TyLoo. So just Excurate who's AWPing. We have seen him move around between A and B, so I wonder if that will be something that we'll continue to see. And in fact, where is he? Yes, okay, he's still middle there with the AWP. So Renegades will a lot of space to play with. Nothing doing here for TyLoo on that banana area for now. Renegades fast into the apartments as well, and it shouldn't be too difficult to take away top middle. Or banana. To be honest, pretty much everything on the map is offered up because TyLoo are playing so passively. So Renegades have lots of options with this round, and perhaps it is just TyLoo saying, you know what, we just want to see what happens if we play really passively. Is that going to be something that could be successful? Because Excurate previously was on quad, now he's on arch with that AWP. Small change, but maybe it will be effective.
JKS delivering the smoke we often see from bolts. Can get some 1v1 situations. The wall of smoke, in fact, this has been very common this week. And JKS may go for a late play into the A bomb site to sell a fake. He's still at top mid as well. The bomb's been left in Banana. 45 seconds left, and Azza is coming to join these players on A, it seems. Perhaps some flashbangs to be deployed. No. Okay, so we have that establishment of space towards B. People keep doing this against TyLoo, but they never believe it. Bentep's already halfway towards the A bomb site. They just aren't really persuaded by that late presence towards the B bomb site. So they're quickly gonna have 4 people on this A site, TyLoo.
Yeah, they've read this well. Captain Mo, oh, they line up for him. The spray is good. That alleviates some pressure for DD, but now down to Excurate with the AWP. He's got to deliver massively for the team, and that's exactly what he does. One more player to go. Excurate cannot get it done, though. JKS, 5 seconds to plant the bomb. I don't think he has time. This is close. Oh my god, that was so close. And one more player to go. Somebody knows exactly where he is. Crouch peeking in. pre-firing the position. How does JKS survive this? He needs an instant headshot. So much pressure on him in this instance, and somebody nails it. That's the round for TyLoo. That's 15 for TyLoo.
TyLoo seem almost immune to fakes on Inferno. Time and time again, we've seen teams have that late presence towards the B bomb site, and they just don't rotate people towards B. They just don't believe it. It seems telegraphed to them. And that's put him in a strong position to win this match. Renegades have the money, however. If Renegades win this round, this thing, it's not over for Renegades. If Renegades win this round, only one person survived for TyLoo. If they can eliminate all the TyLoo plays, they've got no money. Their loss bonus is in the toilet. And Renegades can catch up quickly, and it will only be a very few rounds between these two teams. So, again, it's something positive to focus on. They've won the round, we're against match point, but if we break them, we can take it to overtime.
Yeah, and it must be so frustrating for Renegades. He must be thinking, like, why didn't they buy the fake? You know, like, what does it take?
Very small thing. You saw Nifty, he threw the smoke at his feet, but I think when TyLoo were in that situation, they would throw the smoke further to the left so there's a gap they can look through in that situation on Banana, but here we are. Renegades with control of top mid, so they've got a lot of map control early.
Going for the play down arch. There's a defensive smoke from DD to play with. That's a smart move. That will slow things down, but it's so cautious. They will tag him up through the smoke. And that doesn't really cost them anything to do that. So a big risk taken by DD does not pay off at all for TyLoo. And now they're isolated on that A bomb side and on the B bomb side. Renegades have a lot of options. They can wrap A, they can split B, all kinds of stuff. But Xcurate is going to put a bullet in the chest of Azza. And now he has to do it by himself. How does he get out of this situation? He's going to be flanked as well. And there it is.
Pentet and somebody, now it's their turn to take a decision, and it's a 2 versus 3, not even a 3 versus 3, as we saw in the first half when Renegades were in a similar scenario. TyLoo, do they feel like everything is likely to be lost and they have to push? Somebody has a kit, Pentet does not. And it seems they will contain from this position, perhaps try to pick up an AK, an AWP, towards the end of the round.
No money, James, it's so... They can't go for this.
Yeah, I think they're just trying to pick up a sniper or something along those lines.
I'm trying to think. I think the AWP is towards quads. Yeah, that's where Xcurate died, so they can't really go that deep. This is a big opportunity now for Renegades. This is going down to the wire, isn't it? It just has to. Unless something crazy, something ridiculous happens, this should really go down to the wire.
So you saw Jacob turn there because he heard the tagging of his teammate clipping a player. It's like, okay, somebody's in this smoke. We saw 3 smokes on Arch. From the Arch itself to library, the entire place was covered in smoke at part of that round. Almost all the smoke that you saw from short just moves over to long.
I still really want to see somebody playing Banana with an AWP. The aggressive Banana presence has been missing for TyLoo in these buy rounds completely. And I think that giving all that space for free to Renegades has given them an easier situation than otherwise they may have.
Well, what's scary now is that when they come back to their next full buy, if they choose to do that, the score will be so close that it's like, do they want to take that kind of risk that late in the game where they could give up a one-man advantage? You've got to be really confident in your play and have the presence of mind to do what you think the right play is, even at that stage. Again, Renegades offering something towards B, then focusing back towards the A side. You see the shoulder peek there. Now, what do? They've only seen one player, TyLoo, and Renegades know that as well, but they will continue with their plan.
Yeah, this is just a standard anti-eco. Just wrap the A side. Ooh, nice peeks coming in. My God, they picked up two rifles now. This is a huge issue. 3 versus 4 for Renegades, and players are dwindling now for both sides. Azza shot by the smoke. Now JKS has to save this. They could be eliminated this way, James. TyLoo, 3 versus 1 off the plant.
Somebody still has a kit from the previous round, moving into, well, I was going to say the short position. He was heard rotating, but he's going into apartments. JKS, how does he not get traded here? Whizzing past his head are the bullets through the smoke. Somebody is the high ground going to do this for his team. JKS finally gets a tap, but he can't get the round, and it will be TyLoo 16-10 over Renegades. Didn't have all the tools in the world, but they still won the round and the match. And Renegades have been eliminated from this major.
Not like this. So many rounds just going pear-shaped for Renegades. It's so difficult. It's like so hard to be eliminated from the tournament at this stage for them, and then also in the fashion that they did. Oh my god, I mean, that was an anti-eco. It looked pretty normal, pretty standard, you know, go for the A-Rap, and they just got wrecked by the pistols.
Yeah, they had a smoke grenade in the library, then they put a smoke grenade outside the library and ended up working against them because the CTs were in position, played around the smoke, had a 2 versus 1, it seemed, in a very small situation, and just kind of collapsed from there. Again, with the players that were remaining on TyLoo, they were well equipped for the situation, and the remainder of Renegades just could not get it done. It wasn't really the best performance we've seen from them at a major this run this week, and their run is over.
Yeah, and maybe this look at Renegades will be over as well. That's something that time will reveal to us. I'm sure the desk have a lot to say about that. But TyLoo, it's exciting for all the TyLoo fans. I think it's genuinely exciting to see more TyLoo just because they offer an exciting and different style, and they just create chaos. It's just an unusual way to play the game.
Parla is with TyLoo in a gaming room.
I am James, I'm with BenTet. Congratulations on that victory. Since I'm speaking to you, I want to go directly back to that rather bizarre and confusing round where you were the last alive. The bomb was down on the Renegades side. Firstly, did you know that?
No, I actually didn't know about it, but my teammate X-Red said there's a C4 behind you, and then I see the time, there's no time, and I just keep running to the house because I want to hide. And I caught one guy off guard, and TyLoo running, catching me off guard, but there's no time, so it's a lucky round.
Okay, cool. But overall then, BenTet, it looked like you guys had quite a bit to offer on Inferno. I'd like to talk about X-Red. Pimp wanted me to ask you guys with regards to how much he's calling, what's his input during the rounds, because he's very vocal during the games.
X-Red is one of our best teammate who always talk, like me. He always helped me during the mid-call round, like no need to throw that much utility, just give me one flash, I pick, something like that. Because sometimes I need to throw one molly, one flash, he just say no need molly, you can just flash, I pick, something like that. And also he give input, like this A is, like for example, this A side is not really hard, they only play one side, one pit, let's just smoke the side and go through that, something like that. So I think overall, X-Red really impact for the team.
Talking about somebody else on your team who goes by the name of Somebody, who was it that wanted to know this? Oh no, it was, I saw Petter of HLTV mention, and it's something that we do see Somebody do, is that he makes a lot of high-risk plays. He pushes a lot of smokes, and he seems to make it work quite often. Could you know about that style of his, and can you talk a bit about it?
Of course, I know Somebody is really like smoke. I don't know, every time he sees he throw a smoke, he like to go inside the smoke and catch the off guard, perfect timing. But sometimes it's all cause make us lose the round. But I don't blame him because sometimes he do this, he make us also win. I just say no need to do it more often because people just watch one demo and know about you, right?
All right. So last night when you found out you were drawn against Renegades, this is a team that you have played many times. Was that the right opponent for this moment of the tournament, especially considering they haven't looked so strong?
I feel like I'm not gonna say like it's really the right team to play. I'm just saying maybe Renegades have really not a good tournament for this major, and we just prepare for all team. We prepare the same way. We didn't underestimate anyone, and we just play our game and keep cheers our teammate.
All right, final thing then, you have your tournament lives still on the line. Going into tomorrow, what's the plan? Best of threes?
We're gonna prepare today, we have a lot of time, and I really want to go FACEIT major.
There we go. Well, you're here right now, and you still have a chance to progress. BenTet, would you like to say anything to your fans out there?
Just keep supporting us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and congratulations to TyLoo. Alex, that was a pretty crazy matchup.
It was absolutely balmy, Parla. Right from the get-go, we get there in the end, and indeed it is the end for Renegades. TyLoo, the analysts here joining me at the desk, thought this was going to be all good for the Chinese-Indonesian mix, and Renegades, they did, especially during the kind of first half, start of the second, look lost, Jacob.
Yeah, there's no doubt that TyLoo is the better team in current stand. I don't think Renegades have played up to their potential at all. throughout this tournament. It's been super, super lackluster, especially when you consider they had a 2-week boot camp coming into this. They talked publicly about how they opened up their map pool and were able to play more maps, but we just haven't seen anything. It feels like this team is, to me, this was probably the last we saw of these 5 together. Something drastic needs to change within the ranks of Renegades.
From a personal human perspective, there's only so many times you can pack your gear up, travel halfway across the world, set it all up, play your game, lose, say we'll come back stronger before you just start feeling like you're
MSL did it a lot of times, and he's here now, Alex.
He did, but this Renegades project in its variety of different stances just hasn't seemed to find that fighting formula yet, Dan.
Yeah, and the hard part is like Ustilo usually gets the brunt of the criticism, but this is the guy who's the most selfless on the team. He's the one usually running in first. He takes a hit on most of the positions he plays. So when you have a player like that, it's like you're not going to replace him and add a star, because then one of the other stars on Renegades sort of drops down in performance. Yeah. So in reality, it's the stars that aren't stepping up for Renegades.
And in reality, I want to bring up their previous major as well. They are one of the first teams eliminated here at the FACEIT major in London. In Boston, they were eliminated by a Vanguard in a best of, actually I think it was a best of 1.
Yeah.
But I want to read out their results. So in the previous major, their run and dreams of a challenger or a legend stage was against Vega, Liquid and Mouse they lost to. And this time, this event, we did witness their loss against Gambit, their loss against Big Clan, and now their loss against none other than the boys from TyLoo.
I think it's a team, when you look at the players on the team, I think they all have a future within the Counter-Strike. It's not like we're not going to see this player anymore. I just don't think they have a future as a unit. I think a player like Nifty could do a lot of stuff on certain NA teams. I think a guy like Ustilo, as you said, he's selfless. There's a lot of players and a lot of teams in NA that could use him. Same goes for JKS. One's rumored to Liquid, one's rumored to C9. There's a lot of potential within the players. It's just, they maybe have to accept that it's not going to be these 5 together. It's not going to be this core of a lineup that's going to work together and make the results happen.
Yeah, and I hate talking about like replacing people on a team, because obviously we don't know the full story, but sometimes people do need a fresh start. I think it's been 3 years for the 3 Australians that they've been together, and you see it even in traditional sports like hockey, for example. Like sometimes players just play better when they join a new team. So obviously they know more than us. They're going to probably go back to the drawing board and see if they're going to continue.
Yeah, it's going to be a question. It's going to be a conversation at the very least after what has been a demoralizing loss for Renegades and a demoralizing departure from the FACEIT major. This was our head-to-head. We put somebody up against JKS and so close to a rather heroic 1v3. This is head-to-head is brought to you by The Predator, only in cinemas September 14th. But somebody, I love that Bentek gave us a little extra insight. The smirk on his face, Jacob, when they asked him, hey, did you know that somebody pushes a lot of smokes? He's like, yeah,
we know. We talk about it, but there's nothing we can do about it. I mean, sometimes, as you said, it's good to have a player who wins you rounds on something that not necessarily is too normal to do, but it's all about balance, Alex. You got to find balance in your life. You got to find balance in Counter-Strike as well. It's sort of like a situation with Studio 2K where there's a fine line where you do it too much, but there's also a line where it's super, super beneficial for your team. And I think somebody has found that line within the TyLoo.
Absolutely. What I liked is he said you watch one demo and you expect it, right?
Don't do it again.
And watching a demo is what I'd like to do right now. Now, what did you call this one? What are you breaking down for us?
We're calling this the X Factor, basically, because I feel TyLoo had a lot of stuff they did throughout this game, a lot of small gimmick plays that they used, and one we're going to see here right now is the fact they used a Molotov to burn out this smoke. So they do a pre-Molotov right here because they know Renegades want to take banana control. See what happens. There's a little gap to the right side, and X-Circulate get a free kill. So he goes up here, throws the Molotov for his teammate. Smoke comes down, a little gap, and he's just gonna run out thinking it's clear, thinking it's smoked off. In reality, it's not, and that's a free easy pick. So it's cool to see that not only do TyLoo play Counter-Strike a little bit unorthodox, but they also do prepare some small gimmicky plays that can give you a round or give you a first pick that potentially against the better teams could be the difference between a win and a loss game.
Yeah, and what's so brutal as well from JKM's perspective is as you start to go wide, almost as soon as you expose yourself, you hear that Molly's like being extinguished sound, and you're like, oh dear.
But he has to commit to the plane, right? So he's doing it.
It's quite a unique play though. Like I don't see that too often, so they might have just thought they messed up or something.
I mean, the only pendant we have to it is probably the Molotov on Mirage, where you smoke off the window, and there's going to be this gap in the window smoke. So it's cool to see this innovative play coming out.
You're going to be stealing that one, Daps, for a round or two, maybe?
Yeah,
I like
maybe
it.
Once or twice.
Maybe once or twice. It is one of those little one-trick plays you can get away with, and it certainly did take them a step towards winning it. I have a demo I asked the magic man behind the scenes to bring us something up, so I'm going to summon it right now. And this was cool. This was somebody. It was such an incredible round to watch. I just wanted to see it one more time. I'm not necessarily going to be providing you a whole lot of analysis, but what I found so interesting about this is just the pure cojones on this man. He gets the first frag after pushing through the smoke, and then has the audacity to just gamble on, I say a gamble, he understands there's likely no kit, their economy isn't fantastic. He also knows that he can get away with it because they're going to have to clear banana. You can't just start holding it, you have to clear banana. Admittedly, Renegades make a bit of an error here because you had one guy covering you, you know it's a 10-second defuse, you know it's close, it just seems so silly that he gets off the defuse, but somebody wins this round after going all the way around to A. Look at that, he pulls him off the defuse, and they brought home the round. This was mad to me.
I think it's a super cool round, and he played it super well. And as you said, it requires a lot of confidence in yourself to do that in a major stage right now. I think that's one of the plays where you think to yourself, if you are a teammate of him, what are you doing, dude? Come on, stay back, play it safe, and do something where you have a chance to win it. But in reality, when he does it, it makes sense because, as you said, they have to check so many different corners. They probably don't have a kit. So in reality, he's also showing that TyLoo is maybe not as dumb as I sometimes picture them to be.
Well, you've already kind of backtracked on that by saying that you're talking about the team as a whole as opposed to the individuals, because of just the fact that they have an extra 3 lines of filters of communication to get the same message across that Renegades did not. Still doesn't stop TyLoo from picking up the win though, and I'd love to be if we can bring up an updated graphic for today, because we do have a little bit more games to come. In fact, we get Hellraiser's Optic next. We're going to be going back and forth between winners games and elimination games here with the Swiss format, and we'll be seeing Hellraiser's Optic next. We've got Big Gambit to look forward to, Vega Complexity's got Jacob all excited, and North Rogue as well. Oof. I don't know which one I'm most looking forward to.
I think Hellraiser's Optic's the one I'm looking the most forward to, because it's going to be the most brawly match, and I think these are two teams that are sort of at the same place.
Yeah, well, that's what's coming up next. In fact, thank you so much, Stamps. You've got everyone hyped up, and we're going to take a break before we get there. Epic's GG, though, a quick reminder of one of our sponsors. If you want to collect, trade, and share your favorite CSGO stars, you can at Epic's GG. Just download via iTunes or Google Play. Now, we take our break, but we've just witnessed another team depart us here in the challenger stages of the FACEIT Major, and it will be TyLoo fighting for their lives once more. Another game for them, a best of 3 this time. But for now, we say our goodbyes. Hellraisers versus Optic game is coming up after a quick break.